Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on YouTube, as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Today on the Hangout, Matt Iwanyk with you here. Jasmine's back in with her Lacoste shirt, who I didn't notice the little crocodile on there too.
Oh, right.
I really like
That's
that.
the logo, right?
Yeah.
That's their
That's their
mascot.
logo.
Thanks, Maddie.
Solid shirt there. And Dean Millard back with us once again. We haven't had you on, so you'll get your chance to gloat.
I'm not.
You're going to
what?
get your chance to talk some Dodgers over my Yankees.
It's hard to gloat like I can gloat over the Giants and Jack Cookson. Hey, Jack. But it's hard to gloat too much over the team you beat in the World Series. Like I was thinking, like I was expecting when if the Dodgers lose, things like that. All these people are going to be, $700 million team.
Yeah.
But they still got to the World Series. So
they were the best of their league.
Yeah, it's so for me it's hard to and I work with a few Yankee fans too, and I'm I'm not going to gloat. Yeah, because they got to the World Series. They were the second best team. It's like somebody, trying to dunk on the Oilers or an Oiler fan. They got to the finals. They came back. They were within one game. So I wouldn't gloat over that. I definitely will gloat over the Giants missing the playoffs and the Dodgers coming back to beat the Padres and little brother, you're still little brother. I will gloat all the time over that, but not against the team that also reached the finals. So you're off the hook, Maddie.
I'll take that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
She would have, I think, really liked the gloating.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm kind of surprised that you're letting him off the hook.
She wanted me to suffer.
Waiting for you to get roast this guy.
Listen, I wish the series would have went a little bit longer.
Me too.
Okay, so I wish the Yankees would have showed up a little bit more. I wish Aaron Judge would have showed up more because you want the best against the best, and the fact that the Yankees. I think you would admit it. They did not play well enough in the early going of that series. And I think the first mistake they made was taking Cole out in game one.
First mistake they made was not firing Aaron Boone a number of years ago.
Dodgers fans were saying that about Dave Roberts, trust me, and they've won now.
Were.
So
you're right.
I think the first mistake was Roberts. They had the advantage with the starting pitching. The Dodgers had the best bullpen. Use that advantage as long as you can. And once the Dodgers got to that and Freddie Freeman was able to do Freddie Freeman, which was the most ridiculous thing I think I've watched in a long time, what he did. I think that was the Dodgers like, okay, that's what we do. Chase the starter as much as we can, and we will win with our bullpen. And they did.
Yeah, I know. I knew I was doing the lock shop day before game one of the World Series, and it was like the Yankees need game one. This is almost their World Series because then they can get two more starts out of Garrett Cole.
That's right.
There's three. Then you need to find one more win. But blowing game one was a big one. Continually pitching to Freddie Freeman was another dumb move. And then game five, the ultimate decider that they didn't hold on to win that baseball game. You just you go snag one of those. Like, let's just say they go snag game one.
Yeah.
Also, that's a different game going into game series. Sure. Maybe it's a 3-2 series going to game six, and and then it's a brand new series. So there's.
And you don't give all the momentum you did to the Freddie Freeman grand slam was it.
I feel in that series, but they were also still pretty far.
Yeah.
And both to me are true there.
And
that once they lost game one, I'm like that. I didn't feel like I was ever like they're gonna go win this World Series still. But there's also it was just small margins that cost them.
Yeah, I think
and then the
obviously
Dodgers were just that good.
The fielding mistakes that they made, the mistakes, the throwing mistakes that just allowed the Dodgers to prolong it. And as bad as Judge was, he did come alive. And the fact that Shohei Ohtani was playing with an injury was basically ineffective after that stolen base. It almost canceled those two guys out. The two MVPs were nullified, one because of injury, one struggled. Now, Judge did get it going, just too little too late. What I think the Dodgers, one of the biggest reasons is Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler turned into Walker Buehler again, and from his start and then coming in relief. So I wish it would have went longer, but I don't know if my heart could have taken it. Like I told you, the final game, and this is where I make fun of fans for this all the time when I'm in my broadcasting role. My fan took over. They were getting crushed. I went into the office, told my wife I'm going in there, started listening to on the radio, and they came back and started winning. And I'm like, I'm like Billy Bean in Moneyball. Well, I'm not leaving now. Like I'm staying here and doing it. So I do get it. As a fan, I still think there's no such thing as a shutout or a no-hitter curse as a broadcaster, but I do understand how fans get into superstitions and things like that. So when I put my Dodger fan hat, which is pretty much the only team I'm really like that with, I get it. It's weird, but I get it because I did it.
Are you superstition? Like, what's the most superstitious you've gotten?
Here's the thing. I used to, it'd be like either like I go watch it with my folks or like my friends, whatever. Like that would be the one. But then I actually just stopped because I was so sick and tired of the Oilers just not taking us far enough. And
they're
whatever.
not listening to your superstitions.
They're not listening. So I said, F it. F this.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, last year. And then we went to the finals. So I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm
So
going to
that's
watch
your
when I want to.
superstition
Yeah.
is not
caring.
being superstitious.
Yeah, it's not being superstition. Just believe in the team, I think, right?
Well, like
Yeah.
I had 3 Dodgers jerseys that I rotated through the finals. Kirk Gibson was the jersey that I picked for game 1, and Freddie Freeman hit it almost to the same spot that Gibson did. So then I'm starting to really buy in. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
for
helping the
sure.
Dodgers by
The
wearing my
jersey one's a
Gibson
big
jersey.
one. Yeah, the jersey one's a huge one.
Like it was like I was there this summer. I went and got a picture with the spot where Kirk Gibson hit his home run. So to be able to be there, that also made this special too. I was at the stadium this year and I was there as they're showing those things. And you
Is that first time going to Dodgers?
It was first time ever,
Okay.
yeah. And when you get to go to, like the first time I got to go to the Winnipeg Arena as a kid, I was just like, this is crazy. First time I got to walk into Rexall Place, you're just like in awe of so much history that's been in that place. And I can imagine it'd be the same thing at Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park for a Red Sox fan or you name it. There's something different about having experienced that and then watching it from afar.
Absolutely.
It just means something because you're reliving the time you were there.
Well, it's such an important spot of your life. Well, having never been there.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's LA, I've been to LA one time before. I flew in for 24 hours to interview David Beckham when he was coming to remember the Galaxy? Well, all of us from Edmonton went. It wasn't like a sit down with Dean Millard and David Beckham. It was all the media.
Canadian exclusive. Yeah. David Beckham to Canada. Dean Millard, Global Sports.
David Beckham will speak to Dean Millard? What the heck? No, but we all got flown down there by the Galaxy and the FC Edmonton. We sat down. I was literally there for less than 24 hours because Global made me come back and do the weekends. All the other guys got to go to Dodger Stadium and see the Galaxy game. So I'd never had an opportunity to be there. And so this was like, we're doing it. Going, and now it probably turned into an annual thing where we'll try to hit them on the road because I don't think there's anything better than seeing your favorite team live. Now, for an Oilers person and you live in the city, it's one thing, but to be able to travel and see your favorite team, there's nothing like it because you're interacting with the other fans and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got that with Canada Soccer going to Atlanta for Copa America.
Like that would have been incredible. Now it's an entire country though.
And like we had this, like, and it's you're not going to get that every Canada Soccer game, but there was a big march from the pub we were at to the stadium, and we had like an escort for it, and like it was just cool. You all come together for this one team,
and
we don't know each other, but we're here for this team, and
Absolutely.
it's fun.
That's like when you go to Vegas and like all the Oilers fans go to Vegas. It's the same sort of deal, right?
Or when it was in Phoenix.
Or,
I'm not going to stand by that.
absolutely.
It sucks Phoenix isn't around just specifically so the Canadians could travel there.
When the Blue Jays play in Seattle, you see the same influx of like Vancouver. I was out there and we made the trip to Seattle. I know how short it is and how easy it is to get there now. It's like no wonder so many people from, I guess, Saskatchewan West, maybe Manitoba West, are doing that instead of going to Toronto to see the game. Let's go see them on the road.
We got to be a little careful with Mariners and Blue Jays here.
Why?
Because
Of Eric?
she bought a ticket to go see the Jays.
I know. When
Once
he was talking about
Ohtani
it,
was about to sign,
bought
so she
2
bought early.
tickets.
But then he went to the
Buy the
Dodgers, so she
bullpen.
bought a little early and then couldn't sell the ticket.
the day of Ohtani jet, I bought $500.
You really got sucked in
I
by
know.
Ohtani's agent. You should send him a bill and be like, hey, your little dance with the Blue Jays cost me $500.
It did, and the worst part was
I'm sure they could, Past that.
I
I
tried
think
to
it's
sell
700
them.
million, he could do it.
I tried to sell them. Like I tried all the sites, like StubHub was one of them. Dropped them to $30 each. Nobody bought them.
You can get a
Nobody
ticket for
bought
a
them.
Mariners game. You know how much you can get into a
Clown.
Mariners game for? $4 if you wait until right up or after
Yeah.
first pitch. And and sitting up in the nosebleeds is kind of cool for baseball
That's
too
great.
because it looks so great.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
You're just
why
watching
you
the
weren't
field.
able to sell that ticket. But oh man,
Never again.
Yeah,
will I
so
buy
that's why I was a little
into
careful with the
Yeah,
Mariners
I-
Blue
I know.
Jays right now.
I would maybe wait for the press conference before you buy your
Well,
next
yes,
ticket.
I've learned my lesson the
And
hard way.
I hope Jays fans have learned a lesson here with
Well,
Soto,
yeah,
where
they
Yes.
got played.
do not
exactly.
do not
Yes.
get hyped up about Soto. I think latest John Heyman said it's Mets and Blue Jays are the top two right now. No. If you are a Jays fan, when you see that press conference,
That's right.
where he is holding the Blue Jays uniform,
Yeah.
and Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are there,
right.
and maybe some of the Rogers are there, and he's got the jersey.
Then you can buy it,
you
yeah.
can be like, yes, we got Soto. Until I don't care if the Blue Jays send out a release on Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
Until you see him holding that jersey, do not get hyped
until
up
he passes
about
the
Juan
physical.
Soto.
Because you know what? Teams get used all the time. Reporters get used all the time for this stuff. Do you,
called clout.
Yeah, so Danny Heatley. Remember Danny Heatley was going to be
was
an
an
Oiler.
Mm-hmm.
And they used the Oilers. And even though the Oilers sent them a nice video
of
package of Edmonton, they used, and
Forgot
they
about
do this all the time and sometimes an agent will reach out to a reporter and give him false information because they're trying to push a narrative. So you have to be really careful when you hear these rumors because the agents might like, hey, we need some leverage here because the Yankees are the only team that's bidding. So throw the Blue Jays out for me. And then I'll give you a scoop later.
The Blue Jays are a great team to do this with because they have money. They were
You're right. They're a
seventh
viable
highest
team, yeah.
Payroll this year. I can't remember how. Like
They are a viable team for every free agent money wise.
They will spend it. So it's not like it's all of a sudden we're hearing the Kansas City Royals are going to spend how much million? Like the Blue Jays will
The
spend.
Tampa Bay Rays, the Marlins, exactly. Yeah.
This is like, oh, this could actually happen.
Like the Blue
in
Jays should
reality-
start coming out and start saying, no, that's not true. Like if they know they are not having a chance with Juan Soto.
Unless they buy in, they're drinking the Kool-Aid
Unless
too a
they're
little
thinking
bit.
that, oh my
Stinks.
God, Juan Soto's
maybe
coming.
get it.
It's going to be so awesome. Wait a minute. I just saw on TV sign with the Yankees again or whatever it is, right?
Somebody needs to do a doc on the Otani one.
It should be. And because
it's-
that guy from Dragon's Den was
it's-
on that plane, right?
and
The woman, actually, I believe.
No, it was the guy.
It was the guy,
Herjavec.
yeah. Oh,
It was
okay.
Herjavec. And
Yeah.
it's his agent is the part of the same agency as Otani's agency.
Yes, and
so
that's
it's like
right.
you wonder, like, okay, I don't think
okay.
Herjavec knew, but I think maybe his agency said, hey, we need you to take a flight to Toronto. Like, who in our agency
Yeah.
could we fly to Toronto right now?
And some-
we got this Robert Herjavec. Hey, Robert, we need you to fly to Toronto. Just
Yeah.
we need you to take this flight.
I
and
wonder
go
if it's
do
a
it. Like,
coincidence or if there's some people that don't believe in coincidence, right?
I don't
Because
think-
it's a really interesting coincidence.
Yeah,
if
Not in
I
showbiz.
stand by this too, and this is for
That
all
would be a good
sports.
documentary,
I
man.
think there needs to be somebody needs to
like
do a
just
deep dive into that.
the graphics and animation and different things that you can do on it. That'd be fun.
I remember later in that day going, why haven't we heard from Jeff Passan or Ken Rosenthal or Buster Olney on this? And that's where it's once again it reaffirms there are certain insiders in sports that unless you hear it from them, it's not 100%. Hockey's Friedman, Drager, LeBron, Bob
Sham.
McKenzie's retired. Who?
Sham.
In
In
NBA,
basketball,
yeah.
Shams.
Well, he's the only big guy
He's the
now,
big one
right?
now because Woj is
Woj,
gone.
yeah.
I said those three in baseball. You know,
There used to be a guy
Schefter,
like Peter King
Ian
in
Rappaport.
football.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When those guys speak, when they clear their throat and speak, Farhan and Naylor in CFL, when they clear their throat and speak, take it to the bank. It's done. If it's anyone else, they may be good. They may be some of the best.
Yeah.
You could
So
believe
who's
most
saying
of it.
Soto to
but
the Jays then? Who are the guys?
John Heyman, it's a pretty good.
Wasn't John Heyman the guy who?
John Morosi.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Morosi.
to two Johns. Yeah, you're right. Heyman is.
Heyman's solid.
He's pretty locked in.
But he's not Rosenthal, Olney, or Passan.
Yeah.
So that
I'm-
if he says something, it could be true, but it's not a guarantee.
I was glad when I heard the Dodgers probably weren't going to get Juan Soto. First of all,
What? Is that
Well,
what's happening now?
no, I've just heard that.
I hope so. I need them out.
Yeah, like I've heard that there is some interest, but I've also read that they're not. It's not their, and it shouldn't be. They first of all, I like they have Teoscar Hernandez, who's a much cheaper option, even though he's a little bit older. But Juan Soto, you don't say no to Juan Soto. Like, that's the thing. Like, if the Dodgers signed him, I'd be like, okay. I'm not being like, with Ohtani, because it's not the massive need. But again, you're not saying no to Juan Soto. It's the guy. The guy is one.
Sign Juan Soto. That's $1.3 billion between
God.
him and Ohtani, probably.
Like, it's just
Two players, $1.3 billion.
They need other areas of help, unfortunately. But you can't. If you're a Dodger fan, you'd be like, all right, we got Juan Soto. Like, I was happy when they got Yamamoto. Really happy with Ohtani.
I was mad when they got Yamamoto.
If they got Soto, I'd be obviously very happy. But I just don't know. I don't know. It's like. And this might sound weird. It'd be like the Oilers trading for a 50-goal scorer. When you're like, or going out and signing and spending the money on a 50-goal scorer.
Truthfully, I think the Oilers would take that shot.
Yeah,
if they could right now. They and this based off this offseason too. The Oilers seem to be that team that would do that.
It just seems like you should, free agency shop for need. It's not the draft. It's not best player available, in my opinion. I don't know.
They make it fantasy. It's fun to watch. I'm looking forward to the day where somebody gets $1 billion in one contract.
I wish baseball had a free agency like hockey did. And they did the one year coming out of, I think it was the, when they had the work stoppage just a year or two ago, when there was like the delay wasn't very long. But as soon as that ended, it was like ching, 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 all the signings. Like you see on Canada Day, right? Or whatever. Like, that's fun.
Because free agency's open.
Yeah,
and
baseball.
I think it's 10 days after World Series.
Yes, it is.
It opens.
And it's stupidly
and it
slow.
takes a while. And you never know when somebody's going to sign.
Because that's why, because it just drags on and on.
It drags.
Yeah.
And there's guys like Bryce Harper who don't sign until I think it was like February or something. So you're like, where's Bryce Harper going to go? And I think Machado was late too that year.
It's weird.
You have those years where it's like, okay, well, like when is Soto going to sign? He might not sign till January. He might sign today. We might all of a sudden get
that'd be great. Yeah,
you want to like be like, okay, what's happening? But you can't be so locked in because
that's what I mean.
You don't know when the end date is.
I
you
love
can just
that
go crazy.
one day, like gun goes off, start the race and go sign your free agents. Like, we should have GMs with like potato sacks running after, trying to grab like an Easter egg hunt or something. I just think it's neat to get all of your fans paying attention to that. And baseball is just, I guess their off season is much like the game. Like the game is slow. There's no time. So that's kind of like what their off season is like. It just drags on.
Kick your feet up and just take your time.
We don't even know when the newest hotshot from Japan is going to be able to sign. Is it going to be an international signing how do the Dodgers not have the inside track on that? You got Yamamoto and Ohtani. Unless the youngster wants to go.
Well, now you're the third wheel
somewhere and be a bigger fish. I don't know. We'll see.
The Dodgers are turning into Real Madrid for me.
Really?
In soccer, Real Madrid right now gets everyone.
Yeah.
They get like Alphonso Davies is going. It's like anytime, and like Mbappe's just went there. But anytime there's a good young player come up.
Why did Bayern Munich not renew him?
I think that I think he's ready for.
He
okay.
wants to leave.
Yeah. So like I think Bayern would keep him. But I don't think but I think they're also okay. Like they had some players. I think they're okay to move on as well. Because it's Bayern Munich, they'll find players.
This was a topic at my barbershop, at Dynamite Barbershop in St. Albert. They were like, he said Bayern didn't want to pay him that much, so he was going to go somewhere.
I think then there's also like Alfonso has a price.
Yeah.
And Bayern doesn't want to pay
and
that.
The fans were getting mad at him because he's not making up his mind again with the agents involved.
But this is free. This is his free agency period. This is his chance.
Well, the thing with soccer though is like we've been discussing this now for over a year, and he's not a free agent until after this season. But like in soccer, you could have these. Because there was talk of transfers this offseason.
Right.
Like this past summer, he could have transferred because Real Madrid was not paying the price Bayern Munich was wanting to sell him for. So now it's like this summer he'll be a free agent.
It's such a weird
and as
world.
Of January, I think you could sign as soon as January. Like once January comes, Alphonso Davies could sign a contract in theory with another club and finish out the year with Bayern Munich.
That is the weirdest
in the summer,
thing.
He can jump.
And the fact that we're there, we want you to pay us this, or it's a different world. But we in Canada have been slow to adapt. Like the vertical integration that soccer has is brilliant. Well, like the kids that start in the academies and work their way up, similar to what we're kind of doing at Silent Ice with some of our hockey programs and things like that. I think hockey could have benefited a lot more from that vertical integration.
It would have been fascinating. Imagine if like there was the Oilers academies
Right.
that you would have come up through in the Flames academies. That you
Less
come
of a
up through.
draft, but more of a, I want to go play for this academy, right? It's just interesting.
But yeah, so like it's like any big name, they're going to Real Madrid. And now it's in baseball. Any big name, they're going to go to Dodgers. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
well, how? And it's wild to see that. Like, yeah, okay, so now there's the next big Japanese player. He's going to Dodgers. He'll be a Dodger.
If this year has taught the Dodgers anything, it's that they don't give a rat's you-know-what about the luxury tax because the amount of money
Yes.
they have made off of Ohtani. So here's a couple of things. When we were there, we took a stadium tour. We were the only people out of 50 who were not Japanese. We were the only people who understood the
History
the
of the Dodgers.
the tour guide.
Oh,
They didn't
Everybody
have a translator.
they do, but
Okay.
all those tours were already full. They do have Japanese tours that they specifically do. And so our tour, like basically we had a private tour with a tour guide because
Amazing.
all the other people were just looking for Ohtani and Yamamoto taking pictures, right?
Yeah.
And so they make, I'm guessing there's probably 200 buses that come through for a weekend set. Plus, Japanese companies were then buying advertising in other teams' stadiums where the Dodgers. So the Dodgers were
Dodgers
so
traveled.
full. So then they go to Kansas City. Japanese companies were buying outfield advertising in Kansas City because they knew so many Japanese. Like it was the Dodgers have been like, this is so good for us. We're just going to keep doing this.
That's where it made sense why, like, if Ohtani actually went to the Jays last year.
Yeah, it did.
It made sense from a business perspective of Rogers because
Exactly.
like the talk was they would bail on the NHL rights.
That's right.
Because they would go all in on Ohtani.
That's why everybody
But
bought
also,
in.
And then also because Rogers, like from a telecommunication perspective,
Massive.
from that side of their business, dealing with the Japanese market and stuff, like it was like
That's why it
the
made Toronto
amount, like,
such a viable option
and
in
why
that moment.
$700 million seems like a lot of money to us and goes,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous sums of money. But from a business perspective, it's actually well worth, like it's good spending. The money you're making from the $700 million,
Right.
like it's not, you're not paying Ohtani $700 million, you're investing $700 million.
And you're not even paying Ohtani $2 million, basically, because and listen, the Dodgers probably wouldn't have been able to do a lot of this stuff if Ohtani didn't say,
Yes,
I'm
I'll
going to do
defer.
this. And why can he do that? Because he makes $62 million off endorsements.
Yeah.
Not every player can do it. We've seen it a little bit in the NHL. I think sports in general are going to see this, but it's the unicorn players that can, it's like the top 1% to 2%. And even some of those guys, people will be surprised that there are professional athletes that live paycheck to paycheck because they have no clue what they're doing money-wise. So only a few players, not all of them,
I
but
feel like that doesn't happen anymore. Does it?
I would
What,
say
the overspending?
Yeah, just athletes living paycheck. to
yeah,
paycheck.
I'm not
I feel like
saying
they
a
invest in-
lot. I think it's gotten way better because every agency has a money man.
Yeah.
But I still think there are some athletes that have massive entourages in all sports. And not everybody can be like, yeah, I'm going to defer, like.
Was it 40 mil or
yeah,
whatever?
like 46
A year?
million or something like that. Like it's 700 over 10 years, but he was making like two.
Is it that what it
something.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's like the NFL, the average length of an NFL career is 3 seasons,
right.
I think. I think there's
money
too
gets
many
spent.
players that go in and think the cash cow is going to be here forever. And so that they spend and then their family all comes out and their friends all come out.
Absolutely.
Entourage,
Yeah.
everything.
And
Yeah.
then 10 years down the line, they're out of the league and they have no money.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think it through fully. Like, I don't think we see it too much anymore, like with some of the guys that have longer careers.
Yeah,
I think they're smarter. But the ones that have across, like, I don't know what the average career length is in the NHL or those. NFL is just the one that I remember. It's being 3 years.
Yeah.
And they have no non-guaranteed contract, so you can get cut.
And an
Snap of the
agent
finger.
can tell you
So-
all he wants, like, hey man, we shouldn't be spending this money, but the guy wants a vet, he's going to get a
gonna get
vet
the
or
vet.
whatever it is. And again, I think it's gotten so much better because, the agents that I do know, they all have, a financial department that makes sure, you're not showing. Like I remember guys showing up in junior hockey with like a Porsche or something and be like, what are you doing? Oh, I got my
Yeah.
signing bonus. I'm like, oh
That'd be
my
me.
goodness.
Well, that's the one thing. Like, if any of us were that age, what would have we done?
Yeah,
you know,
that's
type
true.
thing.
Legit, I'm getting the
Although, like,
nicest-
my parents would have slapped me upside the head if I got like this big contract at 18. I'm buying a Porsche, and then my dad would have come. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You dumbass.
That's the thing. And here's the thing. I think Brent Sutter was saying that the one year in Red Deer, because I've always said you shouldn't be able to sign a player until his junior season is done, because you're giving an 18-year-old keys to a Porsche right before his playoffs. What do you think that's going to do to his head? It's just a crazy thing. Be like,
Yeah.
hey, I know the most important time of your hockey season is coming up. Here's $874,000 or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Average career length for NHL is 4.5 years.
4.5K.
So about 12 seasons. The bottom 75% of NHLs plays 2 years.
I also
So
got
there you go.
I got to call out. Is it Tango? Yeah. I think Davies is overrated. You watch your mouth, Tango.
Yeah, you watch it.
That is our boy.
That's our local
Why?
boy.
That is our boy.
It's YEG Sports Talk here.
What's over? I want to know what he thinks is.
Yeah, why?
Why is he overrated? Does he think he's not fast
He thinks.
enough?
He also says, "I don't think he's the best player on Team Canada." I will say this about Alphonso Davies and Team Canada: he is the most talented player on Team Canada.
Sure.
It's not close. He's not the most important player on Team Canada. That's Stefan Eustáquio to me. Midfield, just the way soccer is played.
That's
too.
right, yeah.
Stefan Eustáquio to me is the most important player. If he gets hurt, our midfield hurts. Although, who's the guy? Ishmael Kone. He's becoming a really good midfielder too. So he might end up becoming the best, most important, or second most important player that we have. But Davies is our most talented
Yes.
player, and it's. But the way soccer's played, that I will look at Eustáquio and Kone and say they're more important.
Like you can look at, obviously, when you look at the Oilers, it's Connor McDavid, and he is probably their most important player too, right? Like it's different in that hockey,
Different sports.
basketball, different sports have different importance of players, but skill wise, Alphonso
he's the
Davies
best.
he's a player that other countries talk about as a player as in the world. Like other fans in other countries are like, I love Davies from Bayern Munich, right? He's a guy that
Davies
gets
the biggest
attention.
Canadian athlete in the world. Period. To me,
Yeah.
I don't think there's an athlete right now that is Canadian that is a bigger global name
Yep,
than
you're right.
Alphonso Davies.
It's funny. I was in Mexico one time and sat with a couple from New Zealand, and he was a big rugby player from there. And we were talking, and he's like, "Who do you think the most famous Canadian is?" And this was 15 years ago, and my stupid hockey brain went, "Oh, Wayne Gretzky." He's like, "Are you kidding me? Have you ever heard of Celine Dion?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, get out of the
Because you went
hockey bubble."
athlete. Yeah, the athlete route.
Get out of the
right?
I went athlete right away. He's like, "Get out of your
Yeah.
sports bubble." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right.
Celine Dion
Gretzky
would be
is
big.
the biggest in our world
Yeah.
for athletes or whatever it is." But like you go to New Zealand, nobody knows who Gretzky is, but they know who Celine Dion. So it kind of makes you think. And then when you're looking at athletes in Canada, we tend to think McDavid, Crosby, those type of guys, but worldwide, it would be Davies.
Yeah, because McDavid's going to be more well known in Canada.
Sure. North
than
America,
Davies.
for sure.
Same with America. Yeah. But as you start, like Europe, by far, Davies is going
That's
to be
right.
well more known than Connor McDavid.
If you did
And
those
you start
man
going
on
to
the
those
street,
other-
women on
yes.
the street polls, and like
Post pictures.
like who are these people?
Davies is the better chance of getting. Yep, I know who that is.
exactly.
as
You'll get
opposed to
more
the other
people
one.
that know who Davies is, or even saying their name.
Well, and the fact
go to
is-
a pub in Europe somewhere. What do you think they're going to be talking about?
Absolutely.
Hockey or soccer?
Yeah.
And Davies, like Manchester United is interested in Davies, but I think he's still in the end will go to Real Madrid if he's playing at Real Madrid.
That's right.
His not like name recognition,
Yeah.
will take just that extra step.
And I love the Bundesliga because
there's
of
no
the
one
name,
bigger than Real Madrid.
but it's not. It's a great league, and Bayern Munich has a great history. But you're right. You're going to the Yankees, the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Real
the
Madrid
Dallas
is the
Cowboys,
most,
whatever. Right?
They are the most followed club on social media in sports.
in sports.
Real Madrid.
Really?
It's not close.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're the
and
most
it's not
followed
surprising
club. Like,
that it would be
like-
a soccer team.
Like
so.
I'll just do first Instagram here. Like if I'm not mistaken, like Reddit, it's by far the most followed subreddit.
Wow.
They are just ridiculously massive. So
More than Taylor Swift.
169 million followers.
And who
on
are
Insta
the
only.
Who are the owners of Real Madrid? That's not the Fenway Group, is it?
No, they're
Is
and
it the
yeah, the Dallas Cowboys on Instagram have 4.9 million. Real Madrid has 169 million.
Wow.
Right? And that's just Instagram. I don't know how to define how Real Madrid is owned. They don't have an owner in a sense.
Okay.
There's rules, I think, in Spain, and somebody's going to have to correct me a little bit more on that. Maybe Eric would know a little bit better. They don't have just individual owners. Like it's almost like the community owns them.
like kind of like the Packers? but with richer community.
In a sense, yeah. Like in Germany, no one could own 51% of a soccer club.
That's right.
It has to be owned by like there are board of governor meetings for Bayern Munich where fans who can go and talk to the board.
Yeah.
Like imagine if the Oilers had a situation where they have to put Jeff Jackson. Yeah, they have to put
I
Stan
can't imagine
Bowman.
it. As soon as you say imagine the Oilers and start, I'm like, there's not a chance
you have
they would
Jeff
do it.
Jackson, you have Stan Bowman, you have Chris Knobloch or whatever. I don't think maybe Knobloch would be, but they have to say, we're going to rent out a room at the conference center,
goodness.
and you could come and you could ask your question.
That
of the club
would be a pay-per-view
because you
people
are a
would
shareholder
watch.
of this club, and you want to ask your questions. You're going to ask your questions.
Yeah.
They do that like once a year, but so like there isn't
for
an owner.
Public, you're saying?
If you're a shareholder,
this is like
shareholder,
they're owners of or whatever. They have every right to go at this board of governor meeting or something. Go question their manager.
Isn't that brilliant?
So there's issues with like they've had Bayern Munich fans have had issues with various sponsorships that they've dealt with and companies that they've aligned with. They come and they ask like, why are you with these people?
Right.
Like, how dare you go on with these people? And they get upset and they get furious, and because there is no one that could just buy this club. It is publicly like there's fans have to own it to a certain
But
degree.
Real has to have something a little bit different because of the money.
And that happens
they
behind
have a
closed
board.
doors?
No, you
There's
could
a
watch the
presser.
videos. You could watch the videos.
See, like if the Oilers did that, that would be a pay-per-view.
Holy.
Like
yeah,
it would be Daryl Cates doesn't own the team anymore, but the city of Edmonton does.
Right. The community does.
You betcha.
You'd
you
have
sign
people
up.
like flying in for those board meetings. Where are you going? I'm going to the Bayern Munich board meeting this weekend.
So like there isn't like on Wikipedia usually you could look up and
That's
it
right.
tells you who owns. There is no owner.
So interesting.
There is nothing there that states who owns it. So actually, this is
And that's
I'm gonna chat GPT this.
the ownership thing and
Owns
the
Real.
Real Madrid. Are they
Florentino
considered
Perez.
He's the president.
Okay.
Are they considered the how the Yankees or the Dodgers are? Like, are they the hated team within soccer because they get all of the players and things like that? Is there a thought towards them like the evil empire?
I think so. I've cheered for Real Madrid in the past against other clubs, like English clubs, because I want the English clubs to lose.
Right.
Because I'm a United fan and I don't want those clubs to do
Sure.
well. So it's a little different in that aspect. But overall, I think most people would rather see Real Madrid fall too because they're the Giants.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
always
that's
great
what it
watching
is,
the
right?
Giants fall.
It's everybody likes to see the favorite lose, whether it's an underdog or just the favorite losing, right?
I don't like the big guys either. I'm always going for
That's why you hate Steph.
That's why I hate the Lakers.
Don't tell that to the new GM of the Elks. He's a big Lakers.
Yeah, I meant to ask him about
Is he?
the Lakers.
Oh,
he
he's
is.
huge.
Can I say something about that last? Oh, sorry.
Before you do,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
Real Madrid is owned by its members known as socios.
Socios, right?
Unlike many other football clubs, it is not owned by a single person, corporation, or consortium. The club operates as a nonprofit organization, and its socios, who are essentially fans with voting rights, elect the club's president and board of directors. This democratic structure has allowed Real Madrid to remain independent and under control of its supporters since it's founded in 1902. The current president, as of 2024, is Florentino Perez, who's done, honestly, for winning and stuff, he's done an amazing job. You can't criticize
They just
him
make
at all.
so much money.
They make so much money, but it's not owned by the fans own it, and I think the same with Barcelona. The fans own it, and there is something beautiful about that, and
wild.
it's like the laws of Germany. I don't know if it's like of the Bundesliga and stuff. No one could actually go and buy 51% of a club. It just won't be allowed. The fans have to have like power in their clubs, and it'd be fascinating if we ever had that model here in North America.
Well, positive?
The Packers have that.
I think it's a massively
the
positive.
Packers
They
have
do.
that, and I was just thinking how wild that is for the Packers are obviously historic, successful football team, but Real Madrid is to be able to do that at that level with that amount of money is kind of crazy. I've always wondered,
but nonprofit too. So it's like,
so you get to see everything.
well, and it's
Like that's why Augusta
want
is
to make-
for profit because they don't want to ever show anybody their books.
but they want to make as much money as possible still, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm going to take that money as an owner and put it in my pocket so I can buy another yacht.
Right.
You make more money to spend on your club.
That's
They
right.
renovated their stadium, and like their turf goes underground
Oh, that's beautiful.
to get like they have like these sun things and like to treat it and stuff. Like go look at some videos of the Real Madrid stadium and the renovations they just did to it are absolutely incredible. But they take all this money and they just pump it back into the club. Whereas like Manchester United fans, we're upset because one of the owners of the Bucks owners, the Glazers. Right, and they've been pocketing money. And they've been taking all this money.
I hate that.
It's like you're not reinvesting in the club.
No.
Reinvest in the damn club.
Yeah.
And now I won't go into the whole details of United, and they've brought on a little bit new ownership. But that's the beauty of like that nonprofit is, they've got lots of money. But it's
it all
for
gets
the club.
spent on the team. Yeah.
And then they can go sign Mbappe.
That's why they can do that.
And then, but then with that, they will go sell the jerseys and get a crap ton of money. You want to speak on Ed?
No, go ahead.
Yesterday?
No, go ahead. Your guys' soccer talk is intriguing.
No, that's it. Like that's just where like
I'm
But back to so where this
learning
all
a lot
came from
about
is
this.
Alphonso Davies goes to Real Madrid, like the most followed club in sports. It's not
incredible.
Even close. Like it's them, it's Barca, it's United. I think business wise are like three of the biggest sporting clubs in the world. You do have to throw the Cowboys in there. You do have to throw like the Yankees in there and stuff in terms of global money and all that. But in terms of number one supporters, like number of them, sheer volume, Real is up there. And if our boy from Edmonton is playing for there, like
that's wild.
I'm not a Real Madrid fan. I do need to get a Bayern jersey though for Davies. I do want then that jersey because it's our boy.
It's our boy.
Our guy is playing in Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like it's just ridiculous to think that could have ever happened in my lifetime. Also, Canada in the World Soccer Rankings, we're going to go up. There's also a rankings called the ELO rankings, which people say are better than the world rankings because they use more of a recent success. Though FIFA rankings, it's a very complex thing, but it's over a long period of time.
What isn't complex with FIFA?
Absolutely. But then the ELO rankings kind of rates over the last year almost how successful a team is doing. And Canada is now 26th in the world.
Wow.
We're creeping up into the top 20.
That's got to be the highest we have ever been. Like I can't ever imagine we were close to the top 25.
I would assuming in the ELO rankings it is. Canada.
What's the FIFA rankings?
I think we're going to be 31.
That's also got to be the high. Like this is the best our Canadian men's soccer has ever had. Like 86 was the only other time, I think.
We're currently 35. I think that's going up to, I think you could project. I think it's going to be 31, which will then become the highest because in February 2022 was our highest at 33.
This is so exciting for soccer fans. I mean, the fact that your country in both genders is now relevant in the world's biggest game. Like we tend to get into this hockey bubble so much that every other sport is second. Well, this is, with Alphonso Davies, with what the women have been doing for the last 20 years and the men starting to catch up. Now we're going to be known for this, the beautiful game. And I think that's just amazing. And like you said, what a thought that you would ever see this in your lifetime where a kid from northern Alberta, like 58 parallel or whatever we are, is
in this snow.
And is playing in that stadium. Like that's wild and amazing. And it makes you dream.
And 26 is just going to be fascinating to watch how we do at this World Cup because also we've seen the numbers. We saw what happened in 22 when Canada was at the World Cup and the first couple of matches, how big those numbers were. Then we saw what happened at Copa America and massive numbers on CTV yet again. Now this is the world. Like there's a lot of people I don't think had a clue what Copa America was. Oh, Canada's just playing in some tournament against Messi and Argentina. Cool. People know what the World Cup is.
No kidding.
You don't need to explain what the World Cup is and the fact that it's on our soil for a few matches. Like it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive.
Are you going to be able to watch that without bitterness that Edmonton didn't get a game? Or are you over that? Because I'm still a little bit peeved that the biggest stadium in the country didn't get a game.
Yeah.
I will say, where was I?
It's the World Cup. You're not worried about filling
on Sunday.
Seats. I just didn't understand that.
On Sunday, watching the Grey Cup and seeing BC play, so I looked at my mom. I was like, "I'll be there," and my dad was like, "They're going to be there in 18 months because the World Cup." And usually, whenever I bring that up, bitterness comes in immediately after, like stupid FIFA, stupid all of this. Like I just get a little upset, and I didn't.
Okay, so maybe
I'm starting to get over, like down the hill of my anger.
And
when
you
it
have
happens,
to be able
I will
to
have some of it. I'm sure that like, why can't I be enjoying this in my own city? But I think you'll go away to it because like what we talked about earlier too is traveling to go watch your team.
Yeah,
there is something special about that.
There is,
and being in Vancouver and celebrating that,
And
I should book
no
a
matter,
place now.
like it seems silly that there's not a game in Edmonton when one of the most skilled player is from Edmonton. Like it's such a storyline. So as soon as play begins, I think fans are going to be like, I think that bitterness will linger on the hype up to it when we're seeing all the preparations going. Once the game starts, Edmontonians are going to come together with their Davies jerseys on and get to the pubs and get to their houses and really buy into this.
The only thing that the negative will keep coming up for me where I'll be bitter is the fact that then, like, to the Elks, I don't know what's going to happen with Commonwealth.
You're right.
I don't know if we're renovating. Don't know if we're going to get a new stadium. I think it's more likely it will be renovated. I don't know where that money comes from. I don't know if that's going to be provincial funding. I don't know if there's going to be municipal funding. Municipal funding, it's going to be tough sell at this moment in time.
Well, if it's provincial
with
funding,
things.
then the Stamps are going to want something because that is an old stadium too.
Right, but they got the Flames and we didn't get the Oilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, they're getting the arena paid for provincially
yeah.
needed.
Sorry, you're
so
right.
it's like
Yeah.
there's the switch. So, but like, and I'm not going to go into the full politics of this.
Yeah.
But
you're right,
Right,
yeah.
like, but there's also Calgary is more of a UCP market as opposed to Edmonton is like NDP. We're orange, so they're not going to usually give a lot. That's just politics. You generally don't give to that one city. But so now we have to get through this whole discussion of okay, with Commonwealth. Whereas if the World Cup was coming in 26, there's money that is already being invested in Commonwealth, and we know what's happening, and we don't have to talk about the future and what's going to happen. We know, and that we have to get into all this. This all comes back to the fact we didn't get the World Cup. Now those question marks are still there, and
Well,
they're
it's
going to
like,
be
why-
there until we solve this.
That's not getting the World Cup brings the question in: what do we need such a big stadium for? And you can counter that Metallica and Lady Gaga and all these bands are not coming here if we don't have that stadium. So, like in some regard, we have to find a way to make it a good football stadium, but also the ability to be a great concert stadium when you get the Metallicas that want to come into town, because where there's not a lot of other places. Bands that come to Canada, their first choices are Vancouver, Toronto, right? Like that's their, you know, for the big bands, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd love to see Radiohead. They're never coming here unless it's to Vancouver or Toronto. So that's the one thing that Edmonton can draw a band in the summertime.
We're the third biggest stadium in terms of, I think, spots for stadium shows in the country. You're going to
Third biggest.
I don't know. You're not going to
Oh, sorry.
like Toronto and Vancouver are like stadium shows.
Sorry,
it has to be stadium shows.
I thought you meant size. But
No,
yeah,
like
yes,
you
you're
got
right.
Vancouver,
Yes.
you got Toronto, like Taylor Swift.
That's right.
Your favorite. She's
You're not a Swiftie?
she's a huge Swiftie.
I'm anti-Swiftie.
She's got her Toronto shows. She's then going to do a few shows in Vancouver.
Sure, you're
She's
right.
not coming to
Yeah,
Edmonton.
that's right.
Partly, I think, with that, like if we had a dome stadium,
That's
maybe
right.
that would
You're
have been
not-
different. Maybe that would have been different.
Commonwealth is only really viable for a few months, right?
But we get those stadium shows too. Vancouver or Winnipeg's gotten a few outdoor shows in the past. Regina has had it in the past, but it's been a while since I think they've had shows at their stadiums to a degree. But Edmonton's that next one. Like it's some people are like, why didn't Metallica go to Regina? Well, they could do 2 shows in Edmonton and make more money.
Yeah. Double the capacity.
And that's what you
almost,
need.
right?
But so we're like, and Edmonton just in concerts in general, then when you get to the arena shows, we're like in this middle ground where we're not Toronto, we're not Vancouver, we're not Montreal, but we're not everyone else.
No, because people want to come to Rogers.
And we get some
and they
shows
can't
that
go
the other
to the
ones-
Saddle Dome. Like there's
Can't go to the
some
Saddle Dome.
people, the acts that can't go to the Saddle Dome because the roof is too low.
Yeah.
And
and it can't
Yeah,
support the.
they're-
that's
the
right. So they
production.
have to come.
Yeah.
So
Well, Tim McRae's doing a show. She just did Stampede, but she's a Calgarian.
Yeah.
And her latest the tour, she announced that she's coming to Canada. She's not hitting Calgary.
yeah, and that's
crazy.
going to end.
And that's her home.
That'll end when they get their new stadium. You're not going to have that Edmonton
they'll be taking it
advantage
away from
anymore.
us for sure.
No, well, so Radomski, who's in charge of the Oil Kings, Kevin Radomski, he used to, one of his prior jobs was in charge of Rogers Place's concerts, and he's been around the music business forever. He was on the Hangout once explaining that it's actually better for Edmonton to get Calgary because then they'll do both.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, that's
he
good
explained
then.
it because I always thought like I didn't want Calgary to get a rink also because like screw Calgary.
Yeah.
But also like let the shows come here, like Calgarians drive up here to see the show for our
Exactly.
economy, all that.
Yeah.
But he said, no, what will happen is Edmonton's such an outlier that to come to Edmonton from let's say Vancouver, it's probably going to be one extra travel day for that tour. And if there's an extra travel day, that just means another day they're not making money.
Right.
And it's hard for them to want to go do that. But if there's Calgary, they could go to Edmonton, they could go to Calgary and split it up. And usually there's like 2 trucks or something. So one could go to Calgary while they're doing the Calgary show. One's coming to Edmonton. the Calgary would go to Winnipeg or start going out east further, whatever it might be, that actually we should get more shows once Calgary gets a stadium or arena. But Edmonton right now, like we've had a lot of concerts that have come where it's the only Canadian shows are Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton.
Yeah.
We get the shows that are the entire country. And then sometimes we're just out with the Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. And so like we're in this middle spot where we're not everyone else, but we're not big enough to be the top three.
Almost in your own category.
Yeah.
Like it's almost because it's bigger than it's the bigger than most cities in Canada, but it's so far north that it's like we're going where? Like I don't think people and maybe they did. It took me a long time to realize how far north Edmonton was. Like I grew up an hour from the US border in Manitoba. And, we're how many hours away? So you don't realize
how many hours away are from the next biggest major city?
Right.
Yeah.
Just major city.
That's right. Isn't like Green Bay closer to, wouldn't it be closer, or Kansas City?
What?
Yeah. Wait, I'm thinking about my cousins. They drove down from Manitoba and they hit up like 2 major NFL stadiums.
Well, Minnesota is pretty close.
Yeah, Minnesota is like 10,
Or the Vikings,
11
right?
hours
Vikings,
from Brandon.
Huss has done the driving to Kansas City and stuff before.
We've done a tour from Winnipeg, Winnipeg, down to see the Twins and the Blue Jays before, and there's lots of buses. But yeah, the biggest American city would be the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. We would go down to North Dakota all the time to watch like fighting Hawks games now. But your biggest city would be Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Like Toronto's still almost
And then-
24 hours from Brandon.
Yeah, because you have to go around the lake and stuff.
the Shield, the Great Canadian Shield. So a lot of people go down through the States all the time, right?
Then what's the next major NFL city? That's close to
like Winnipeg?
To Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Oh, there's now like you're getting like once you get sort of that eastern side.
Then you're getting closer to Michigan. And
Green Bay wouldn't be far because Minnesota, Wisconsin. And then Detroit's kind of by there. Chicago's down there.
Yeah. So you're getting into the Midwest area where
Cincinnati.
Not as close as you are out east when you're going like New York, Philly, and all that. But yeah, if you wanted to do a tour, you'd come down from Manitoba to Minneapolis, then hit Green Bay, probably go in through Michigan, and then down that way through there. So it's a good spot to be in because you're so close to the border, and it's a little bit warmer too in the summer. So, but I really don't think people realize us. Like you grow up here not thinking it's north, where some guy in the States is looking on a map going, what?
Yeah.
And look at free agents. Look at free agents. It's Winnipeg and Edmonton are probably the two teams most found on no trade lists.
Yeah. Eric Zabrowski, pitcher for the Guardians, he signed right there.
Yeah.
He was asked, he was on with Reed and Jay, and they asked him about, do you ever like talk to your teammates about Edmonton and like where it is? And he's like, he's pulled out maps at times and people can't believe how far north it is.
Exactly.
Like there's people that live there. Why do you guys live there? I know. It's a great question. We don't know sometimes.
People, it's you run into this when you get into the States. They do not know. People in North Dakota did not know what province was right above them. Like they think, not all people, some people, and I think this has gotten better, but some people think the world ends at the border, and there's basically Toronto and Vancouver, and that's it, right? So
if Vancouver comes up,
that's crazy.
Like a friend of mine went to school in Toronto, and instead of trying to explain where Brandon was, he just said Winnipeg. I'm from Winnipeg. I'm from Winnipeg, because they would be like, Brandon, where's this? So it gets to the point where even people in Toronto don't know outside of their bubble, right?
Piss me off. Well, they're just so arrogant, and they think they're like American city, and they are a world class city. They are.
Yes,
I'm not going to dispute that they are a top
Do
city in the
Vancouver
world.
people upset you?
No, because I don't feel like they have that sense of entitlement. I feel like Vancouver people feel like
they
they're.
do.
I don't feel, but I feel like they're part. They feel like they're part of Canada. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get
Toronto
it.
people
Toronto
think
is
that there's nothing
Americanized.
outside of Toronto in Canada.
Their
They
mannerism
are
and stuff is
Canada,
different.
basically, because they're Americans. And that's what pisses me off. No, you're part of Canada, people.
Okay.
You're not American. Deal with it. You're not an NFL city. I'm sorry. No matter what you think, the NFL's not coming to Toronto.
You don't think the NFL will ever come to Toronto?
No. I don't think the Buffalo Bills will ever allow that. I don't think the Buffalo Bills will ever be happy with that.
That's right.
That's partly
wouldn't be
why I
happy.
think they brought those regular season games there was to, I think, firmly stake their claim in that market that this is ours. I think if you're Buffalo, the fact that you are a small city anyways.
You're right.
in terms of a big major
Unless
market.
Buffalo's going to get a
Edmonton.
lot of cake off it.
They would have, because, and now you also you get this market that's 4 million people live in Toronto or whatever it is. That's your market.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of people that will drive down. You've got Bills territory in a 4 million people population. You will lose that to a degree if you allow an NFL
kind of like
team
what
there.
Seattle has. If they were to put a baseball team in Vancouver, Seattle would be like, wait, we just lost. But it's not every game.
Yeah, and also though Seattle is a bigger city.
Yeah.
They can afford
You're
to lose
right,
another
yeah.
city. Buffalo is so it's Edmonton.
You would
And
you would
that.
lose like 20% of your fan base every Sunday, maybe? Do you think there 20% of Bills
That's a good
fans come
question.
down from Toronto? Like,
That's a really
I don't
good
know if
question.
it would be that much, but you would
You
lose
lose.
that percentage. There'd be some people that are still going to always be Bills fans and they're going to do it, but the next generation are not going to be, oh, what's the closest team to me? Oh, it's Toronto. I'm going to be a Toronto fan, right?
And then it's also from an NFL perspective. Okay, let's how many teams can you go to ever? Let's say it's 4 teams you're adding.
Yeah.
They want Europe. They want to build a European division.
That's what I thought, though. Maybe you could start your international expansion in Canada or Mexico. Like keep it in sort of North America
you
a
need
little
to
bit.
have multiple teams in Europe. You can't have
You
one or
do.
two, right? Like, so I think it would be like you want London, you want
Oh, so you
Munich.
think they go all 4 in Europe?
I would think you'd have to do like almost the full division that's out there.
Yeah, you might be able to.
And
Just for
but then I
travel
would
and
think
whatever.
I would think Mexico City is probably more likely
Yeah.
than Toronto. Like Toronto would be down a list, but they think the NFL's coming tomorrow. Toronto people. That's why
I guess
don't
Mexico
like
City
Toronto
is
fans.
not as close to Dallas and those teams as would be in. There's no. Well, I
And
guess there's
think-
no San Diego anymore. So
I think
that's
it's
pretty
also
close to the
anytime
border,
you
but-
could add another team out west. Because there's not like when you look at the map of the U.S. and geography and
Yeah.
stuff. There's only so many cities out west.
You're right.
There's a lot out east.
Yeah, it's Paul. Yeah.
And so any chance you can add a Western team to just help balance your stuff, I think there's nothing wrong. And then getting into the Mexico, Crushers talked about Mexico City for baseball.
Yeah.
And how
I just don't understand that. Like, how is Major League Baseball not expanded south yet?
And the thing is, it's like Mexico City. What is 20 million people?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ridiculous how many people that are living there.
You've expanded north twice in your history. You have not expanded south yet. That is wild. Like if as much as the NFL is looking at Europe, and I think it's a smart idea. If you have 4 teams there, you could still have interdivisional games because you're always sending teams over there.
2 European teams could be home. Send 2 teams over there.
Yeah.
Rotate between those.
And
the
they
other
don't
2
always have to
European
travel,
teams
yeah.
can come here. They could play 2 road games back-to-back weeks. Keep flying back and forth.
I think
almost like that.
the constant time travel, I think you'd only want teams to go once. Like European teams come over once. I don't know if you'd want to keep going back and
I
forth.
don't think you could work that out.
I don't know how
Because
you would do
it's,
it. You'd be
We're at a
sending
17-game schedule, so you'd have to play in your division twice, so that's 6 games.
Yeah, there would have to be some changes because you'd
Yeah.
be sending more teams from North America rather than I think. But it's such a smart idea for Major League Baseball to expand south.
I'm laughing just because Reed Wilkins last Friday, I used something on ChatGPT with him, and he then was fascinated by ChatGPT. I don't know if you guys ever use ChatGPT.
Not too much. No.
Sometimes.
So then
Is it writes stuff for
it's
you?
AI. Yeah, it's
yeah.
where you ask a question, it could do things. And sometimes, to me, it's actually like
Don't
when
get addicted to it.
No, but like the question about Real Madrid, I think is better than Googling it because sometimes they'll just put the answer right there for you as opposed to having to go
okay.
through. But Reed's like went and sat down, tried to get it to make him a schedule. And it's this long process that Reed on Monday came to me and he'd been thinking about it all weekend and he was trying to get ChatGPT to build him a schedule, like
Right.
a round robin schedule, and then with bye weeks and stuff. And we've expanded it this week to having ChatGPT try to build out a CFL schedule where it's a 21 weeks, every team gets 3 bye weeks, build that every equal home amount away, and it can't do it.
Wow.
It struggles with it. We've explained the parameters very clearly, and it struggles mightily, so much so I got into a fight with it.
You broke ChatGPT?
I started yelling at it. I told it it's not taking over the world because of this. It agreed with me.
Be careful. Some of those AI things are telling people some really shady stuff.
Yeah, no, I've realized once the AI takes over the world, I'm one of the first to go.
Yeah, they're coming for you.
They're
right?
remembering me. I'm being saved somewhere in their hard
You are
drive.
the opposite of
to come at
Kent
me.
Brockman on The
Yes.
Simpsons when the aliens
No.
came down and he's like, "All hail the aliens!" You are like, "Get away!"
They're coming at me. I'm done. I'm not surviving that one.
Yeah,
but we're talking.
you
I was
know
going to
the
say
song-
let's chat GPT a schedule of the European teams in the NFL. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't do it with
It'll
that because it's
blow it
not going
up.
to work.
It'll blow it up. It's like the song, the robots from what's their name? Flight of the Conchords. They have a song about robots taking over the world, and they are definitely what's happened to them in that song is going to happen to you, Matthew, because you are opposed to the machine domination. I'm here for the machines.
Yeah, no, I'm on. I got into argument. You can't
resisted-
swear at.
Yeah,
swear at it. Tells
you
you
can't.
it takes it away. It says
No
you
way.
can't have a hateful message. Because I
Okay,
told
well,
it to F off.
That's smart. I have
that's nice.
avoided using AI for writing. I still try to use my what's left up here. There will come a time. It's like the people that, like my dad, just wouldn't get a computer for the longest time or wouldn't the internet. And eventually you have to be like, okay, at some point this is going to become part of our lives.
That's why I won't use AI. I don't want to get used to it, addicted. I'm going to keep using
Dependent.
this while I can.
There are certain things I don't want to use it for because I just don't want it. I don't
also
want
cheating.
it to take. Well, it's not the cheating part. Is I don't want us as a society to get used to.
Well, we are.
Get,
It's going to.
getting
Like,
those
what is
things,
going to
and
happen to
it's-
kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's
Like, how is
That's
a
good-
teacher supposed to
Yeah.
tell the difference between something that you
They
wrote
have
and something that a program wrote?
Well, funny enough, there are bots almost that will do that for the teachers.
Yeah,
like
there's
there
actually
are
programs,
checkers.
yeah.
Oh
you
my
can
goodness.
do now. Like it to me, it's going to be like.
It's like the bot, monitoring the bot.
Well, it's like drugs in sports. Science is always ahead of the leagues.
You're right.
Whatever we have as leagues to stop doping, science has come up with something new
That's
that we
right.
don't know yet that is
Protects
that
them.
are doping. And then we got to find those and find the tests for it. So science will always be ahead of the leagues.
But
I feel that so I think we're always going to have that kind of in schools. There's always cheating. Everyone's always cheating.
exactly.
So,
Whether you're looking at somebody's paper
Yeah.
or using a robot, right?
But there's ways for teachers to analyze whether ChatGPT wrote it or something.
Okay,
and now
that's
students are like, they take ChatGPT, they get a thing, and then they rewrite some of it to try to beat those bots. So like there's always that churn, but teachers are aware like that's happening, so they're trying to combat it.
Yeah. I'm going to incriminate myself. We just used to copy right out of the textbook. So it's kind of the same thing. We would just try to change some
Yeah.
words or whatever. The odd time we would, hey, did you write this? But it's so it has always been kind of happening.
Or
It's
take
just
turns.
a different way. It's you talk about the I guess the criminal or whatever element being ahead of the game. The movie like that Catch Me If You Can with DiCaprio and Hanks, they got the guy who was doing all the crimes to solve. Like, how many times do you see that instance? Well, this guy knows the hacker is going to go and stop the hackers because he's the one that knows how to do it, and he's already ahead of the solution, right? So you're right. The Balco thing, how long had that been going on for before they finally caught up to it?
Game of Shadows, what a book.
It's just it's wild how it's always the person who's going to get caught is always 2 steps ahead, and you can never catch up. So weird. Like, look how Ben Johnson was the fall guy.
Yeah.
Carl Lewis for years was using steroids, and Ben Johnson was the fall guy, and they just always stayed ahead of the game.
Oh, don't AI, screw off. I'll keep my fights with AI.
Coming
I'm
from the
stand
guy
by
who
it.
loves AI.
I don't love it. I don't love it.
You always talk about ChatGPT all the time.
Do I?
Yes.
I don't think
all
so.
the time.
I do know
I
some
don't
people
think
So I
that
just
do
assume
use
that
it.
you just get all your material
No,
there.
I use it for various things, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the broadcast television industry because at some point there's not going to be script writers. Like when I worked at Global, we had producers, we had directors, we had script writers that would write scripts, and we would write our own script and they would do some stuff. At some point, it's just going to be fed into Chat GPT. Is that what it's called?
That's one of the versions of AI.
And then there's going to be an avatar of a person reading the news. They're never going to make a mistake. They're never going to break. Like, I was on the air with Aaron Chalmers at Global, and Saturday Night Live was always on after us, and we would be laughing so hard I wouldn't be able to read the newscast. We had a good time and it was genuine.
I love that.
Never get that again.
Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I literally once laughed through an entire 12-minute sportscast in Red Deer after the camera guy laughed at the first joke, and I couldn't get through it. You'll never have any of those moments because it'll be an avatar. It'll be fed in. There'll never be a mistake, and that's when I was at Global, they got rid of studio cameras. They got robotic cameras. We were doing the sports for Halifax from Edmonton. So it's shrinking to the point where it's going to be just a computer program. I hope it's not for a long time. I hope I don't ever see it. Yeah. But that's the way society is going. Like, look how many jobs have been lost and replaced and stuff. All that stuff. It's a society thing.
Well, self-checkout's one that
we're
being paid. Like, we're doing the work for the company.
Yeah.
It's not even computer always completely, but we have to do the work, and then we get in trouble when we do something wrong.
It's also screwing people over like their social skills. Like, people are they're so dependent on technology that they're not interacting with other people.
They're not.
And then they're awkward when they do, and it's because of
and then they have
like
to do a book report, and they've never stood up and talked before.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons we do interviews in our JPHL games. We're interviewing kids that are playing in 14U, 15U, 17U, and 18U because some of them might go on to junior where they're going to be interviewed, but most of them are going to have to stand up in class, at work, go on a date, something to build up social skills. And that's one of the main reasons we interview these young kids. It's cool for them and they love it, but there's a reason behind it so that when they get to something else, they're not scared of, oh my God, I got to get up and give seats. Oh, I just did an interview last week, whatever it is.
AI does write articles right now. I think Sports Illustrated, the institution that it once was, is no longer there because if you go on, it's AI and it's awful. And there are radio stations that are starting to use AI.
Yep.
And
for sure. Well,
it's the Simpsons thing. I found the quote from DJ 3000. Hey, how about the weather out there? Whoa, that was the caller from hell. Well, hot dog, we have a wiener. And the guy, man, that thing's great.
Well, listen,
but we are getting to that where then it's
we've already seen it. And how many times did we?
Rogers is doing the
We
AI.
used to have live DJs on all radio stations, and then what started happening? Voice tracking, right?
Voice tracking.
Now this person's recording their show. Now then it's syndication. So it's been shrinking. The two of the stations I've started at in my broadcasting career no longer exist, and the other ones do not have sports departments anymore.
Ched, they just their noon shows across the country now. They just there was changes yesterday. So people were lost their jobs.
It's terrible. It's unfortunate.
But it's now
we've all unfortunately been through it.
Yeah, the Ben Mulrooney show is now a national show.
Wow.
On Chorus from noon to 2 Edmonton time. Courtney Terrio, who had a show on Ched, is now 2 to 4. But that's it's just that slow. I know that Harvard Media yesterday had some cuts.
Yeah.
And that company does a lot of. They have some radio stations in Edmonton. They have in Calgary. They're in Saskatchewan. I don't know where else they are. I don't know if they're full country or just Western Canada, but they have one person in Saskatoon is doing multiple shows in different markets.
It's wild.
And it's almost like there's no one left.
This is the place where people will come now. It's funny. So you guys had Zach to come. Mm-hmm. We tried to get Zach to come and do a practicum with us at For Vengeance Media because it's stations like this, local streaming stations and production companies where you are going to get taught the experience that you need. There are unfortunately fewer stations that are in Canada, and there are also fewer stations that are having the things that you want to do to be able to train you. So it's you guys and us and things like that where the new breed of broadcasters are going to go find work. It's sad. It's incredibly sad. Because all I ever wanted to do, well, first I wanted to be a hockey player. When I realized that wasn't happening, I just wanted to talk about hockey for a job. And I feel sad for the kids that may not be able to do that someday.
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of EST, promotional products that bring the buzz, thehighproductmarketing.com. Matt, Jasmine, and Dean. We're with you here on the Hangout live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, live on YouTube. Also, thanks to everyone checking us out on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Do need to get to the keyword for the EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780.
It's been an hour.
Do I get to Can I would I be allowed to win this trip to LA? Or
You're more than welcome. You're not. The rules and regs say employees.
Okay, then I'm definitely not an employee, so I'm going to definitely be entering this.
Warriors, Clippers, Intuit Dome, Rams, Cards, SoFi Stadium, Edmonton taking on either Anaheim or LA. Flights, hotels, cars, all provided by Edmonton Sports Stock and presented by the 780 Homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. It's both their shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. Work with close to 100 vendors from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. You can check them out 780.com, the word 7, the number's 80.com, or at any other 5 locations: Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. Get your phone out, 780-218-9999, to text the keyword.
Is that a typo?
No, I'm trying to figure why I did this one.
The keyword is Downs. 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 Downs.
Like Assiniboine Downs? That was the racetrack in Winnipeg.
There was a couple of racetracks in the area.
Yeah, there is. Like the Santa Anita, I think.
The Santa Anita, I bet on it a lot at Central Casino throughout the Elks season.
Rome always used to talk about that on our old station.
I'm just trying to think if it's a player on one of the teams that I'm forgetting. Otherwise, I did it because this is the first word that I forgot why I have this one.
Downs, I thought about football.
Yeah, like third down.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Thank you. Okay.
See, sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. You just got to get the simplest.
I went to the horse racing immediately, but I know every single one of these words, why it happens. But Downs was one I'm now going,
what are you guys doing?
What am I doing?
This is the easiest.
This is the first time I was able to question myself and go, what the hell is that keyword?
Yeah, like third down.
Downs. Your downs to go.
Wow.
You got to watch the downs that are taking place in Rams and Cardinals.
One of Trish's favorite people in football is the Chain Gang. She went to a football 101 when the previous name used to it was the Elks.
The Eskimos at the time.
Eskimos at the time. They used to have football 101, and she went and took it, and she's like, I love the Chain Gang. So then when she heard that the Chain Gang might be going away in football, she was upset.
It is a fascinating thing that you have an organization that is worth billions of dollars in the National Football League, and they still rely on these chains and eye test. Like, there's no science behind, we think the ball was here. They run it out to midfield.
Wild.
The ref going, I'm pretty sure it was here. And we stretch out this chain, and we go, that's our first down marker. We don't have anything else technology-wise to do this more sophisticated.
All the things that have happened on the
it.
broadcast, like the first down lines and all this, we can't have a chip in the ball or a chip in the puck to know what's going over the line. I just...
Lasers, somewhere, like
we have
setting...
the pylon
something.
cap.
Like that's the one thing that has not evolved in football. Like whoever is the Chain Gang union must be the strongest union in the world, because they're like, no, you're not getting rid of the Chain Gang. Every year the NFL is like, hey, this might be the year we can bust the Chain Gang union. They're like, no, wait, the Chain Gang is not going anywhere, because out of all the technology in football they have had, that has been around since that game began, I think.
Maybe it's the drama of the chain, and it just gets us going.
But it's like,
and we just trust it though too. Like again, they run it from
that's
the
why it's called
sideline.
spotting. You're spotting the ball.
They run it from the sideline to inside, and we're trusting some 50-year-old guy is putting it in the exact same spot.
You're making sure you're holding this chain. If you drop the chain, it is wild. But yeah, like the technology has not improved. When it comes to the interesting thing about that SoFi Stadium is the getting in and out of it. No, but we our Uber driver from Dodger Stadium, which is a pain to get to and very expensive because it's way up. It's ridiculous. But he said if you're going to SoFi, he's like, you'll never have to worry about finding a ride. It's so like for those guys, they go into a certain area and they're in and out like that. Where at Dodger Stadium, it's a pain. So for whoever is going to that, it'll be like, and why would you think it's not? It's a brand new stadium. They've like Dodger Stadium has been there since the 60s. So it's in a bad spot. But to get into that and the technology at those stadiums, he was telling us the things that you just like. People go there and just walk around sometimes for the whole game. because there's just so much going on at stadiums now.
Just some news from Farhan Lalji of TSN. The Elks have requested and been granted permission from the BC Lions to speak to Rick Campbell about their head coaching position. Yesterday, they reached out looking for permission to speak to their OC, Jordan McSimic. Today, they're reaching out to speak to Rick Campbell. So the new general manager and vice president of football operations of the Edmonton Elks, moving quick. Wouldn't be stunned if all of a sudden
it's not surprising.
Yeah, I wouldn't be stunning if it's Rick Campbell as the head coach and Jordan McSimic, if he doesn't get the head coaching job in BC, is the offensive coordinator of the Edmonton Elks coming into next season.
So you think he would move here if Rick Campbell comes here, you think Jordan would come here as an OC?
Unless he gets the head coaching job in BC.
Really?
So it seems like the
So
BC
like a
job
lateral
will be down
move,
to
right?
two. It'll be Buck Pierce and it'll be Jordan McSimic. McSimic's contract's up after this season.
Okay.
So he would be...
What about Buck Pierce here?
I think he wants to be a head coach. So
Yeah,
I think
that's
I think
what I
Buck,
mean. What about Buck Pierce as the head coach?
I think it's... based on where all the attention is going, is it's Buck Pierce is going to Winnipeg? Likely. If not, why would you leave Winnipeg to go to Edmonton as an OC lateral move?
Well, that's what I'm wondering about with Jordan, too. Wouldn't that be a lateral move?
It would be, but you would be out in BC anyways.
No. If Jordan came to Edmonton.
No, I know, but
yeah.
you're not going to be back to BC.
Yeah.
If Buck Pierce goes and is their head coach.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
I don't know why Buck Pierce would have Jordan McSimic as OC. I think Buck Pierce would probably be close to being the OC there. So Jordan McSimic would need a job, local guy, right? I think.
Yeah. But you don't think Buck Pierce would be a fit here as the head coach?
I'm skeptical of Buck as a head coach fully. I do think though, there is the homecomings. Buck Pierce was a BC Lion.
You're right.
Him going back to BC.
Yeah, the pieces
and
seem
for
to
Rick
fit a bit
Campbell
better.
coming back to the club, he was a coach before. His dad obviously is the legend of this club.
Ed would have played for Rick.
Ed did play for Rick.
Yeah, as an
Chris
offensive
Morris.
coordinator, right?
And Chris Morris played under
so
him.
They would know him better than anybody what kind of a coach he's been
Ed
because they
hired
had
Rick in
him.
BC too.
There you go. Yeah.
So like the connections all there. So and it's just
the only thing I would
stability.
wonder is if Chris Morris is like, hey, let's break the cycle of you. You had Rick out there. Obviously, you didn't accomplish what you wanted to do. Let's go. And that's the only thing I would think that Chris Morris might say. Let's not get the band back together. Let's get another trumpet player coming in here or something like that.
Fair, although I don't think because of COVID and then Ed leaving BC, I don't think they ever were together. Actually, it was a game played of the BC Lions where Ed was the GM and Rick Campbell was the head coach.
Really?
I think he hired him and they never played a game together. I think.
Okay. Well, the thing is, he knows Rick because he played for Rick, and that's what you're bringing in as a coach, and you know how the coach is going to relate to players. I think the guy, whether it was Will or Eric, was saying today about don't bring in a coach that says this is going to be my style. And the greatest example I have of that is the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't force Lamar Jackson to play in a certain style. They designed their game around the mobile quarterback. And I think you want a coach that comes in and says, oh, what style are they going to play? Well, it depends on the players. Okay, that's a great answer because here's the players. Can you work with these guys? Oh, yeah, I like this guy and this guy and this guy. Not, this is going to be my system. Get me the quarterback that fits this. I think that's an absolute terrible way to approach building a team. Not square peg, round hole. Make your holes the same as your players so it fits.
You look at the players you have and what's the best system that suits them.
Baltimore
and their
is perfect for that.
I actually have fear.
Good point.
It's you have to
Manchester
do
United
that.
just had a managerial change and they're bringing in like one of the hottest young managers in, but the manager's known for one system.
See?
And it's one, I don't think the players that Manchester United have necessarily fit that system.
Yeah.
So I'll be fascinated to see how it goes, but I'm like you. I like coaches that come in and, well, John Harbaugh's my coach.
There you go.
It's, what do we have here? Let's build a system around this.
Yeah,
Not, I am doing this.
And you look at it and a great example, this is really old, but Canada Cup 87, Mike Keenan was the head coach. He had just watched his goalie win the Conn Smythe in a losing effort against the Oilers in Ron Hextall. And he went with Grant Fuhr every single game. Why? Because he knew the type of team he had built was an offensive juggernaut, and he knew Grant Fuhr was able to backstop that. He was used to it with the Oilers. He could have easily said, I'm going to go with my goalie because it's my team. He looked at the team. He's like, this is the type of team I have. This is the kind of goalie I need. 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, and in that third game they were getting shelled. How easily would it have been to say, I'm going back to my system now and my goalie? Well, it might not have worked out. So you have to see what pieces you have. It's like you don't come home from the grocery store and say, I'm going to cook beef stroganoff when you only have chicken, right? You go with the ingredients you have and you cook the right dinner. It's silly to say this player has to play this style. What didn't Bill Parcells have that famous, if you're going to let me cook the meal, let me buy the groceries or something like that?
I think that was...
Was it Parcells?
Was that Dallas?
I think it was.
Might have been Dallas. No, it was Parcells. It was Parcells. I just can't remember.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like Ed Hervey shouldn't be handing his prospective coach saying, what kind of team do you want me to build? Or, it's like, this is the team we're going to build. Are you on board?
I also am very confident that Trey Ford will be staying with this team.
Staying?
So we had, and I recommend anyone to go. I threw it up as an individual video on the EST YouTube channel. We spoke to Ed, Jay Milne, and I after the press conference yesterday. And when I asked him about, the question I asked was, do you see that Trey could be a starting quarterback for the green and gold one? Like with what he has seen from him, because he doesn't know Trey Ford. And the way he was talking, like go listen to the answer. He was talking as if he's making plans for Trey with this organization. Like he was, well, do you make it do you make him a pocket quarterback, or do you make him, appeal to his strengths? And like the way he was talking was like Trey is the quarterback in 2025, and how does he go about utilizing and having the coach work with Trey? It wasn't like, well, I've seen things from him. I think he could be. This is areas he would need to grow
in the running,
on. This is
blah,
not
blah, blah, yeah.
all of that. We will have to wait and see, and my conversations will determine this a little bit more. It was very much like, take away my question and just think, and don't think of my question as, could Trey be a starting quarterback with this club? Think of it as, how are you going to utilize Trey this upcoming season? And the answer will still fit, I think. The way Ed was talking about it, it gave me belief that this guy believes in Trey possibly being a starting quarterback with this team, and will try to sign him.
Well, and it's similar to how you build your team, and what the example I used with Jackson. If you think that is going to be your starting quarterback, you are going to build your team to complement him. And you're not. I don't see Ed Hervey being a guy who is going to try and force a non-pocket quarterback to become I don't think Ed's going to be like, this guy, would just be so much better if he just stopped moving his feet. No, he's going to be saying, use your strengths that you have. Like, nobody tried to turn Ricky Ray into a scrambler.
Although I've always wanted to go back and find whether I could get this confirmed again or not. But I feel like when the Elks, Eskimos at the time, traded for Steven Giles with the Ricky Ray trade.
Yeah.
I think they tried making Steven Giles a pocket quarterback.
They probably did, and it didn't
was
work.
one like, Steven Giles isn't a good quarterback in general. Like straight off the bat, terrible trade. But you didn't get the most out of him because you didn't use him in the way that he needed to be used.
That's right.
And that's why that trade failed even more, I think. But I'd have to go back because I was Cavers Reed, I think, as the coach. Qualifying somebody for the EST Flyway to LA. Why are your hands up like that, Trev?
It's we've been having connection issues all morning.
Oh, okay. So what we're gonna find out here. Okay. Am I speaking to him? Can you hear me right now?
I can. Yes.
Perfect. Congratulations. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris, well, you're in the mix for the EST Flyaway to Los Angeles. Congratulations. The phone's working. All of this is great. Maybe this is a good sign for you for next Friday. Have you ever been to Los Angeles before?
I have, yes.
How long ago? What did you do when you were down there?
Oh, gosh. Few times. Been to a Dodgers game, been to an Angels game, been to a Ducks game, been to a Lakers game. So
nice.
Over a couple of times, but yeah, pretty good.
Awesome. If you win, who would you take with you?
My partner, Lisa.
Beautiful. Well, finally, Oilers Wild tonight. Who wins?
Which we should talk about too.
Ooh, that's going to be a tight one. Depends what monster shows up. Hopefully the good one. So we're pulling for the Oilers, hopefully.
Perfect. Well, congratulations. Keep your phone on. Next Friday, we're giving this away. You got to answer your phone to win. But the boys in the morning will be drawing someone's name. And if your name is chosen, they'll let you know that you're off to Los Angeles.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Congrats.
Enjoy the show, guys.
Thank you. Best of luck. 2 more chances to qualify today on the EST for the EST Flyway, EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager, as well as the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We do have the official drink of Edmonton Sports Talks Hangout, being the Finnish long drink legend of 1952, a drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. If you're going to the Oilers game tonight, you could pick up a long drink at the rink, as they have a partnership with OEG. You're right, Jasmine. We do got to get to the Oilers. We will do that.
Did that guy said he was taking his wife?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
They all
partner.
say that. Is she scared
Most
to
say
be like
their
they want to
partner
take their
stuff.
boy?
There have some have said like their kid, like the
Yeah,
wife,
that's
like, and
cute.
it would
Yeah.
work out that way. We did have one say his buddies, because I forgot who it was. Him and his wife were going early December to LA already.
Oh, okay,
So he's
good.
like, "Well, I've already gone. Like this is."
Yeah. It was a buddy trip that I went on. And
What?
realized that I'm now too old to be sharing a hotel with a buddy. So
Really?
we'll be getting our own hotel rooms on all
Yeah.
the next
Yeah,
trip.
yeah,
Too
yeah.
much snoring goes on.
You gotta get your wife, like, you gotta give her a trip though. If she doesn't want to go on a sports trip,
Well,
you owe her a trip.
That's
all
where
it
I
is.
think we had somebody else say that too, where it
Really?
was like,
You owe her a trip?
Hell yeah.
"Well,
you
if
owe
you're
her a
not going to
trip.
take her on this, like you're going to
Oh,
go."
I sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I thought you meant because I went on it.
No,
but yeah.
but if like,
Oh, yeah.
because then the boys could utilize
it's
the
a-
trip
that's
together.
right,
I think
Yeah.
if you win this
Or
trip
the
and your
sportsman.
wife isn't into sports,
That's
Yes,
right.
like
that's-
if she doesn't care about sports, I think what you do
Give
is
her
you
a
say,
break, too.
"I am going to go with a buddy."
Right. And then we're going to go this way.
But
Yeah.
we'll go. We'll plan another trip
Yeah,
somewhere
that's
else.
right.
And then
I think I think
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
you make the buddy give you something.
Yeah.
Like it's a win-win for you. One, you keep the wife happy. You go somewhere else with her. Two, you still get to go to LA with your buddy. And three, the buddy owes you because he's getting a free trip to LA.
Legit. And like your buddy, like you think your wife who doesn't like sports, ones that do, right on, but the ones that don't, like you think they want to go to like 3 games, like back to back to back.
Yes.
Like they want to do other things, whatever,
right.
for a vacation. So just owe her another trip. Take your boy, have a good time.
And the boy owes you.
Wife gets some me time, you know? Yeah.
Or
your boy owes
the
you.
buddies go on the
Yeah.
trip and the wives go on a trip at the same time at the same
That's
Excellent.
you know?
Yeah, they can do the spa.
It sounds like you've been married. You're a married guy here.
Yeah, exactly.
Road Warriors, presented by AccuStill Heavy Haul Trailers, custom manufacturing heavy haul trailers for mining, oil and gas, equipment, highway transportation, trusted by the leaders in the heavy transport industry. Get on the road with peace of mind for your large loads. AccuStill.ca. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, 6 o'clock tonight. Tommy at Hudson's on White as the Oilers hosting the Minnesota Wild later tonight down at Rogers Place. The Oilers return. What did I see? Drake Caggiula was recalled today.
Yeah, he was.
The Oilers should be on the ice if they're not already on the ice. Here we go. Got some lines. Hyman looks to be out.
Yes.
Kapanen taking a spot. So McDavid in between Podkolzin and Draisaitl. Nuge in between Skinner and Kapanen. Henrik centering a third line with Janmark and Brown. Ryan, Caggiula, and Perry. Defensively, Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak, Stetcher, Dermott, Emberson. Nurse looks to have been skating as the number
Very good.
7th defenseman, though. So don't expect him tonight. Skinner, the starting goalie.
They're dressing 7 defensemen tonight? did you
No,
say?
I think he just did.
Oh,
Nurse
so
is
it's
skating.
skating. Yeah,
I think
right,
just
right.
Nurse
So,
is
yeah,
skating.
right.
So I think that's just getting. He'll be close. Maybe
Yeah.
the weekends.
That's good.
But getting the skate out there, not on the ice, is Hyman and Arvidsson. I'll say this: when it comes to Nurse, they play the Rangers on Saturday, and they get like all of like they don't play till like next Friday or something.
Yeah.
They get most of next week off. Don't play the Saturday. Take that extra
I
week.
guess it depends on what happens tonight. If you think you need Nurse on Saturday against the Rangers, I think you play him, providing he's
Yeah.
80-90% or whatever. If you have success tonight, maybe you have a little bit more breathing room to do that. Although that's going to be hard. What a heater the Wild are on. Like their goaltenders have lost 1 game, I think, or in regulation.
And the Oilers are favored today, which is strange. Maybe because of its home ice advantage.
Yeah,
we're
the
never
one
really
thing,
great
and
against the
like
Wild.
if I heard them talking about it, if the Oilers can turn this into a special teams game, then they should have the advantage. But Gustafsson, I don't know if the Wild are going with him or Marc-Andre Fleury.
No, I think they're going with Gustafsson.
Gustafsson, so like
and their morning skate would come up in the next
hour. So this is a weird thing, but this isn't your grandpa's Minnesota Wild anymore. People still think of them as this Jacques Lemaire type team, but they have some pretty exciting players. They have a dynamite
Exciting.
goaltender right now. I mean, I know Oilers fans kind of get stuck in it's the Wild again and they're gonna play the trap, but
They
at
do.
least if you lose now, you're losing to an exciting team. Like when we would do the pre and post game show, Hernan and I would be like, oh, The Wild tonight again.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Them
We
and their
still think
They're a way
ugliest
different,
jerseys
exciting
in the league.
team.
what?
You heard me.
You don't like the green.
It
supposed to-
was ugly.
They're.
I don't use that word. I don't use that word often.
When they
either.
did the reverse retro with the North Stars
Yeah,
colors,
that looks
those were
good, yeah.
sharp.
That's really nice.
I
Kind of
will
reminds me
say-
of U of A, maybe. That's why.
Well, Eric, just to go away from hockey part of this for a
Do
second.
you not like their logo or just
Everything.
the colors?
So the-
It's like the nasty swampy green color. I don't.
3 questions
No.
too many. Eric asked, better logo, North Stars or Wild?
North
and I
Stars.
went, ooh, because the Wild logo, I will give it credit.
It's a good logo. I like
There's
it.
a lot involved with it that if you don't notice it, you don't miss it, but it's there. And it took me a while to see the wolf.
Yeah.
There's a wolf in this. And it's very, the
It's neat
star
for that.
in there.
And I like it, but the North Stars is I'm a minimalist. I like I think it's neat when you
I
see
like the North
details,
Stars, yes.
But I do like I like the Montreal Canadiens logo. It's just the C and
I don't like that logo even.
They could fix it up.
do you know like all the fun parts that you get to find in there? Like Matthew, it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. It just kind of gets like washed away by that swampy green color.
You don't like that green?
It's so ugly.
Do you not like the green I'm wearing
No,
right now?
you look fantastic. really like your shirt.
what
by the
do
way.
you like?
Dark
What
District.
other shades of green do you like?
Green's my favorite color because reminds me of money. But like,
But that's weird. Only sun
course.
green is your favorite color, though.
Yeah.
Only sun
but
green.
that one is like it's just
Like, what about the Oakland A's green?
That's nice because it's still a brighter green.
Okay.
This
You
one
don't like the Wild
Green Bay Packers? Elks?
again, Elks green. That's fine,
Okay.
and it works. I think that with the touch of this, first of all, and that red, that's not even a red. It's like a burgundy maroon. It's like just all wrong.
What's wrong with burgundy?
Wow.
Burgundy's in style. I wear
Like,
a
look
lot
at
of
that.
burgundy. I just hate those color combinations together.
But I like
Do you
the-
hate Christmas?
Yeah, that's a Christmas jersey.
I was gonna say.
Why
that
do you hate
earlier.
Christmas?
There's yellow in there too. That's like thrown in there. It just doesn't go.
Santa Claus, if you see Jasmine walking down
I
the
need a
street,
good
turn
girl.
and run. Just get out of there and do not have anything green on you. She will stomp you.
You know what? I shouldn't use the word ugly. It's a mean word, but those are ugly. That's the only way I can describe it.
I shouldn't use this word, but I'm using it.
Okay.
It's just like the yellow, the red, the green. Now you showed me a jersey just
But,
earlier.
yeah,
than
that was the
North
really
Stars.
nice.
North
Yeah, but
Stars.
That was the North Stars
was
reverse
nice.
The
retro.
green is then they have the beige or white stripe that makes it pop. I
That's right.
don't mind
there's
it.
no
yeah.
poppiness to this, and you just mentioned the stuff that makes pop. There's no poppiness.
There is. The white makes it pop.
White makes it pop. This guy didn't even know it was a wolf. He's like trying to see what it is. It's just all blended.
I said I didn't see it
it's
right
like
away.
a Kinder
It took me a
Surprise.
while.
You keep getting something, a toy.
Because there's the eye with the star.
It's in that logo.
It's got the river in the wild with the trees and stuff. There's all sorts of things happening
a
in
ton.
one.
I can make it
going
better.
on.
Give me a
There's
I'd like to see
people
you
on
make it better.
There actually are people on social media. There's a guy on Twitter or X, and he's like, I make a new jersey after every win for like the Clippers, or he just picks random teams and he designs his own jersey. Like, this would be a jersey. It's actually kind of neat to be able to do that now with some of the programs that are out there that you can literally design your own colored Oiler
Yeah,
jersey.
like your tablet.
And,
I see people changing
yeah,
colors and
and
stuff.
then you
right?
could get like I'm trying to think of a green and yellow Oiler jersey. Wouldn't you love that?
That's actually it happens a lot on Reddit. There's a lot of people that will do like the concept jerseys.
Yeah, that's
so
right,
like
yeah.
they've done CFL jerseys in the NHL colors.
It's neat,
They've
yeah.
done Oiler jerseys and like NHL jerseys in the CFL colors and what it would look like
Yeah.
and stuff. It is always fun looking at those
Like,
type of things.
what if the Oilers wore an Elks themed jersey?
Well, the Oilers did this.
Or the Oil Kings
The
or
Oilers
something.
did this a couple of years ago, probably like 2 years ago or something, with their hats. They released city colors and they had green and gold Oiler hats.
Oh, I never saw that.
Scout from the Elks heard one of the podcast friends VST. He had one, and it actually like it looked sharp. It kind of inspired. We did that too.
I have one blue Dodgers hat. I have a maroon red. I have a black. I have a gray. Like they're and you go into sports stores now. And you got like
There's so many.
There's way more than just blue or black Yankee hats.
That's
Like
cool.
all
It's almost
different
hard
and
to
it's
find the
cool.
original, the OG.
It's- yeah, like it is, and it's really neat. And this is the thing with sports. I'll ask a guy, I'd be like, what do you sell the most of? And it'd be like Yankees or Dodgers. I'm like, wow, there's that many fans. He's like, no, people just like the logo and the
Oh,
look
don't get me
of it,
started,
right?
Dean. I went on a rant about that. But people aren't even fans of the team, but they wear it for style, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah,
And then
that's
There's
a
that
lot
store
of
in Edmonton.
people.
What's the store?
what?
Which store did you see? it in?
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
They're
There's a
selling
lot of people that do that.
Yeah.
Jay-Z made a fashion statement with the Yankees
It's just,
jersey.
I don't
Or hat.
think it's cool. Like, put on a blank hat and stuff, like a TNA hat, a Nike. I don't know. Don't if you're a Dodgers fan, don't put on a Dodgers hat. Makes no sense to me. I'm getting ripped in the nasty chat.
What?
They like the Wild
like the
jersey.
Wild.
Have you guys lost it? Come at me.
The
Y'all
Nasties.
lost-
Bronco Nick, does Jasmine like anything? VR Montenegro. I thought Jasmine knew about style. I reckon it, and she does
See,
not.
this is what happens when you go against the Nasties.
Yeah.
We thought we were pretty sure that Ty Ratty wasn't going to be a first star player with the Edmonton Oilers in the preseason when he did, and Hernan and I got ripped because he was
Really?
having
Yeah.
success. So
Didn't they also telling me it's a bear, not a wolf,
Oh.
on it? So that's apparently a bear. Okay, so I'm learning new things about the Minnesota Wild.
it's a cool animal.
Every day.
Maybe it's both, man.
Norman a Combine, hashtag Jasmine, no longer fashion critic.
See, I'm getting ripped. You guys are telling me that's a nice jersey, please.
Yeah, we all are.
You know what's so
That's
funny?
exactly what we're
That's what they're all saying. So you
That's
two,
what's
yeah, I
happening.
guess you
I
guys
do like
it.
the Wild jersey. Actually, I do.
Yes.
I will say, if I had to pick between the Wild and the North Stars, I'd probably go the classic. But as far as some of the new teams, like the Minnesota Wild are named after the region. The Columbus Blue Jackets are named after a bug. Like, should we name the Edmonton Mosquitoes? So that's kind of what it's. So it's when those two, I think they came in around the same time. I like the Wild logo more than I do the Blue Jackets. I think I'd probably like the Blue
The
Jackets
logo's
color
nice.
scheme.
The logo's nice.
In
I'm not hating on the logo. Change up the
2015,
colors.
USA Today released the 30 best logos in American sports, which is the leagues.
When? Which year?
2015.
So the teams,
ago.
The team
top
logos.
teams.
Oh, well, logos overall, because Major League Baseball's logo is number 3. This involves college. Dallas Cowboys were 1, Golden State Warriors were 2, and
Wow.
MLB was number 3.
And who?
MLB was number 3. So it went
blank
Cowboys,
player,
Warriors, and MLB. Who do you think was the highest NHL? They came in at
Capitals.
number 5.
Capitals probably.
Leafs.
It was the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Do you know who the second
Original 6 team.
Do you know who the
Five.
second highest NHL best logo was for the second highest NHL ranking? Who is one spot ahead of the New York Yankees at number 10? The team's actually at number 9.
The Kings.
No. I'm going to say the San Jose Sharks.
It was the Edmonton Oilers.
Wow.
USA Today
Classic.
had this one article had the Oilers as the 9th best logo in,
And that's-
in the US in American sports here. So it went
I wonder how much
Cowboys,
history
Warriors,
is because of that.
MLB, Texas Longhorns, Red Wings, Columbus Crew in soccer, Kansas Jayhawks in college. Brooklyn Nets surprised me it was that high.
Columbus Crew was in the top 10?
It's a pretty solid logo.
I know, but that's new. I'm thinking the Oilers are in there because of the history.
It's
Yeah.
about strictly the logo.
Oh,
they
sorry.
went with
Okay.
design.
I thought
of
it was fans that were voting this.
No,
Never mind.
Yankees
That
were
is a
10.
nice logo.
Islanders were 11. Army West Point
Where's
was
the
12.
Wild?
Miami was 13. The Hurricanes, the U. The Celtics were 14. Jets were 15. Leafs
Just say
were
the
16.
Wild were 15.
I'm gonna
and see what happens.
It's crazy. Hashtag
And the
no
Wild
hat
were
for Jasmine,
15.
apparently.
It only went to. This article only shows 19 for some reason, but they said it's supposed to be 30.
Oh, that's a Simpsons episode.
So where's the rest? I want the
Agreed,
rest.
Dad.
That's like a Ween album, 12 Country Golden Greats, and there was only 10 songs. Wow.
I love, so big thing about me, I feel like at EST is like I love fashion and sports.
Yeah.
And like, what do you feel about like Oilers getting dressed, or any NHL team for that matter now, like upping their game with their suit game?
I
and
love
whatnot?
it.
Right?
We see it in. I saw a youngster in the JPHL out in Victoria had a red, almost like a leisure velvet, and I'm like, that is awesome. So I love it. What I don't love is teams, young kids having to go out and buy trying to keep up with it.
Yeah.
If you can afford it. But I love it when guys. I also wish that we would see a little bit more outer style. Like you see a guy shows up for an NBA game and he's got like a construction vest on. I think
You
that's
like
kind of
that?
cool.
I love that you love that.
I think that's neat. So I
Yeah.
would like to see NHL players like maybe get out of their comfort zone a little bit. Like
Absolutely.
not just a really loud suit. wear something weird or something like that. I think that, and you know what? That is
interesting.
going to get you on ESPN. That is going to get
Absolutely.
you on. It's not as great as Connor McDavid's goals are.
Yes.
The fashion is going to get you on one of those talk shows or something
you.
else, and it's up there. Like, look at what happened last year with the Shaq Hyman and Leon Draisaitl and the crossover with
Yes.
the NBA on TNT. That was really good
Mm-hmm.
for the NHL. If the NHL could get one of the shows, like I'll use "Pardon the Interruption" as the standard. If you could ever get one of those shows, or First Take or whatever they were, talking about the fashion in the NHL, that will bring people to the game more
Yep.
than showing
More
a Connor
viewers.
McDavid goal, because it's
That's
something
life
that they
now, right?
exactly.
It's part of the
so I like
culture.
it. I like it.
Big Uke has hashtag no hat for Jasmine.
know.
He switched.
You like that?
Oh.
I know where you wanted to say something there, and I'll get to it.
Sure.
Bardown.com, which is the TSN thing. I found the rank. They ranked NHL logos.
Okay.
The guy's an idiot.
Well, thanks.
I'm just going to start with that. Calgary Flames, number 1.
Okay.
It's not number 1. The Wild were number
I
4.
don't hate it.
Oh, 4 for the Wild.
It went Flames, Red Wings, Penguins, Wild, Senators, Sabres, Flyers, Devils, Leafs, Golden Knights, Blues, Sharks, then the Oilers. Dropping the Oilers that way.
Well, so there's some inconsistencies there, because
Nice.
you've got like the Flyers, which is very simple, and you got the Wild, which is very complex. So what's his? I don't understand the.
The Wild was serious props to the Wild for turning Mother Nature into a bear for
Sure.
their logo. 10 out of 10 creativity. The colors work beautifully
Oh,
together.
okay.
Had a really tough time leaving out
Didn't
of the
say
top
anything
3.
about
but
red?
For the Flames, this is red hot take. Get it? Haha. But the Calgary Flames have the NHL's best logo. The Simple Burning Sea is so underappreciated, especially the white one on the old school red jerseys. But okay, you can't be talking about it on a jersey.
What's
if
he
we're
ta-
talking about a logo, it's a logo.
What about the
they really
What's
could
he
not
say
have
about
done.
the Flyers? Because that's a simple logo. It's a great logo, and I love it.
I
but
don't
it's
care
not-
what anyone says. One of the best logos in the league, without question. My books, the flying P with the black and orange, all comes together so nicely. Hope it never changes. There's like no explanation for this.
And
Come
he's
on.
all over the
It's
map.
gone. It's gone. Around the Horn, which is a long-standing
Yes.
show, is
So
going to be done in next summer.
Can you believe
No
it?
way.
Isn't that horrible?
It came out last
Reality
night.
Yeah.
is. What is reality going to do?
No, ESPN
He's
is
awesome,
apparently
yeah.
planning to end Around the Horn next summer.
What were your thoughts on that show?
On Around the Horn?
Yeah.
I liked the show. I was
liked
always
the show.
like, it used to be, I always knew of the show, and there used to be a time when it wasn't on Canadian TV. I
That's
knew
right.
that it was on before PTI, but we didn't get it in Canada. And I always was like, whenever I'd go on like
We
vacation
get like
to
the
States,
final few
Yes.
seconds of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it'd be like, oh, why can't we watch this?
And
Yeah.
then anytime I'd go to the States, I go, oh, I could watch Around the Horn for one. So I didn't mind it. PTI is my show. I love that
PTI
one
is
more than
I love
anything else.
PTI
I've
too.
watched PTI
Yeah.
since I used to set up a VHS recording each day to record it so I can get home and watch it.
We did that at CKX, the first station I did with Off the Record with Michael Landsberg, because it was such a cool Canadian show.
Yeah, I
and it
missed
was,
that.
it was,
Waving
it was
their
really
flag.
good.
That show
and
would be so good right now.
It was. But, you know, the reality went from Stat Boy, right, on PTI to having this own show. And I love the topics that they get into that aren't just about sports. And I love the after the horn, or the side of the pre stuff where they're giving us a look behind the wall. And I think people love that. And I thought that show and PTI, what they had about them that made them so good was they were genuine. You weren't, listen, we've all been in situations where, okay, what are you going to argue on this one? What are you going to argue on this one? And it's manufactured debate. Those shows I always felt were genuine.
Well,
Yeah.
and they're not yelling shows. Like Around the Horn is 4 people just giving their thoughts, and there's disagreements.
There
But
can't
they
be
get
yelling.
one.
But
it's not full
nobody's-
yelling.
it's not-
Stephen A.
Yes,
Smith.
not Stephen A.
And
Smith.
It's
Shannon
not
Sharp
Skip
and-
Bayless.
Yeah.
It's, oh my, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? And they're just doing this and not even saying anything.
respectful
And you're like,
debate,
What is
right?
going on here? I'm getting a headache. They just talk.
That's what
and explain
radio
it.
turned into, though.
It
and
very
you
much-
can have
yeah.
respectful debate.
And then PTI is the same type of thing where it's part of the interruption. They debate, they have disagreements at times,
Yeah.
but
It's literally
you can
in the
live
show.
with it. Like it's
It's in the name.
fine. And to lose one of those shows where the Skip Bayless is on TV right now, but the Stephen A's are the big things. And it's like, are we going to keep going that way? Because I don't want that. These were special shows in Around the Horn and PTI.
And they're a quick half an hour. That's what I really appreciated. Rather than like
Bites.
a big NFL live, where it's usually like 1
Yeah.
to 2 hours. It's like, and it's just pure analytics. You have some personalities talking, they're trying to up one another in a way to give like better knowledge, something you don't even know.
Do you know
behind the
why
scenes.
I'm not too sad about that show going away? Because I know it's going to come back somewhere. That show is too successful.
Somebody
for
will
them
try to remake it.
Like it's like the NBA on TNT. I cannot believe
Thank the
that
Lord.
like that was an opportunity. Like we're going to see those guys, right?
Yeah.
And if that went away, they would start it somewhere. And this show
Somebody will do it.
This show to me is so successful that they could either start it on their own, and like that's the beautiful thing now about the cup. Not that there are cutbacks and we're losing people, is that there is an avenue for them. It's like, okay, we're going to go start and work for Omaha Productions or something like that. Like the Peyton Manning production company and the shows that they're producing, Rich Eisen, all of these people that have said, we're going to go away from the network and we're going to have success, are having success. So that show will live somewhere. It might not be on the same day and it might be a little bit different, but even, what's her name? Michelle Beadle, when she had the show with the football player from Tampa, the Bucks. I can't remember, but it was on ESPN and it was so good. Then she went and did her own thing and it's phenomenal. And that's what people are realizing. We could just do our own thing. We don't need ESPN.
Well, and Around the Horn too, like they were the first like Zoom type show there ever, like almost like in that sense, like
yeah, that's
they've
right.
always been on location. They've always gone to the different cities and connected with different people, and you get the thoughts from across the United States.
Yeah.
And
they
the thing,
did
like
fun
Around the
things.
Horn, Around the Horn and PTI for me were also great. Like I'm a big fan beyond hockey. I do love my NBA, NFL, college. I love my college sports. And it always kept me each day in tune with what's going on with those.
Yeah.
Even like working at 1260 here, I know what's going on largely in hockey, CFL, for a large part the NFL because of what we do here. But okay, well, what is going on? What is the biggest story in baseball that I may have missed? What is the biggest story going on in the NBA I may have missed? What is those bigger story, college football?
That's right.
I know when I throw on PTI, they're not talking hockey. And I don't want them to
Very
talk hockey
rarely,
because they're terrible at it. But I get my nutrients of everything else that I love.
And the thing I judge about a show is John Sexsmith and I used to do this at Global. We'd be sitting there and he'd always say, oh man, I'd love to produce the top 10 plays of the week on TSN, right? I'd love to be involved. I would watch PTI and be like, I would love to be a producer of this show because of the way it was structured. It's like this, we're going to talk about this for a little bit, and then ding, the bell's going to the next one.
Yeah.
And then it's like big topics. Then we're going to have a guest with 5 good minutes. We're going to have a lot of fun with this guy's anniversary and this different things. And it was just hitting, boom, boom, boom. It moved so fast. And the type of
Kept you
topics
engaged.
that they got, and that's what, like now we're into producing as a production company. It's like, that's the stuff you love. As much as I love being on air, I like building stuff and researching and doing that thing. And they did that so well. Like there's an anniversary of when this guy's shoe came off and he made a bucket with his, it was just
that's
the
what just
weirdest
happened.
kind of funny things that they would make you be like, oh, that was really interesting. So the way they built that show and how they produced it was phenomenal. I just
Absolutely.
thought it was just, and I how would you ever cancel that? Like you would
PTI?
Yeah, like you would.
PTI, I
won't.
think, goes one of two ways. It's the moment Tony Kornheiser retires, he's 76, they end the show because, like, as good, like when Frank Izola's on with Bill Bonnet.
Do you think
it's
one of them
fine,
leaves, they both
fine.
leave?
But I think that it either goes that way, where it's just like they'll both decide we're done and the show doesn't carry on. I don't think Wilbon tries to do it on his own. I don't think he tries to do it with someone else. I think that if they continue it on, it's like
And
I've
I
seen
don't
in the
think they would
past,
ever put two
it's
new
Mina
guys in there.
Kimes and Pablo Torre.
Yeah.
They do it quite a bit sometimes together, and it's pretty good. It's not Wilbon and Kornheiser. And
No,
maybe
they're
that's
the
because I've
best.
watched it for so
I
long.
don't think
They're
I
the
would
best.
want
I
to
think it's
replace them either. I would be like, hey,
I
let's
think
just
you end
start
the
a new show.
I think you have to end the show with just because actually there used to be, because they both worked at the Washington Post for a long time, and there was a sports editor there, her name was Cindy Boren, and they used to do like a little clip online from the Washington Post, and it's kind of like what led into PTI and stuff, where they would take a topic, she'd take a topic, and they'd talk about it amongst themselves. And I remember having Cindy Boren on 1260 once.
No
I was so
way.
excited. I brought that up to her because I was like, I really enjoyed watching those little clips and stuff. But those two became such unique personalities with it. That's great. I have to find it for you guys.
And the concept is so
Here
good
it is.
because it does move so fast, right?
Yeah.
So you're not,
There was-
it's not an hour-long boring topic.
There was this was in 21. There was a 4-part ESPN Daily podcast series that was celebrating the 20 years of PTI.
Oh,
And
wow.
it went back to the creation of it and how did the ticker come about and all of that. It was very fascinating to watch.
And they
But
were one of the few shows that like they took a news format and turned it into that sports with the all the topics down the right side and everything else. Before that, it was just full screen. You go into it. They were one of the first shows that, like you were talking about going on location, but they took that. Here's the next coming up story.
You know
I
what's
love
coming.
that. Yeah, you know what's coming. You
And now
anticipate
that's
and
it.
you're like,
standard.
I want to wait.
Yeah.
I want to wait.
I'm gonna wait.
I want to
That's
wait
right.
for
I'll
this
wait another
topic.
4 more minutes.
Yeah.
I'll wait another 6
what,
more minutes.
what are you going to do? What is
Yeah.
going to be the
Like
big
it's
thing?
so smart.
Yeah.
Like, why did it take us again so long to figure out? Let's the news when you watch like 24-hour news station that's going on constantly, so you know you're going to be coming up in the next 5 minutes or whatever it is, right? Traffic or whatever it is,
It's one of those that people just want to know when something's coming.
and then anticipate.
It's-
The anticipation was like,
well,
I can't wait to
Yeah,
see
to
what
see
they're
if,
going
like,
to say
it's
about
going to
this.
be worthwhile for me, or like I'm out.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
or
want
the 5 good minutes. Do I want to stick around to hear this guy, or do I want to go do something
And those little
else?
things like corrections at the end, I appreciate too.
Oh yeah, what
when
did we
they,
get wrong?
when they, yeah, I like that.
That was Stat Boy that came and did that, right?
There are some
That's
commercials out there that do like I've seen a couple where they do a countdown of how long their commercial is. And it just seems better, I think, to like, I could sit there knowing that I'm watching the countdown of this commercial.
Yeah.
You know, commercials are 30 seconds generally. They could be annoying. But when you see that countdown, it's incredible. I will actually say just on commercials, watching the U.S. election, I had CNN on to watch John King's Wall and Calm, that
Yeah.
they had one of the best commercials I think I've
They're
seen
awesome.
in years. They went to silence. And it was perfect because it's during this U.S. election that everyone's panicking about. And they had this just like, here's 30 seconds of calm.
Yeah.
And it was I'm like, this is a brilliant ad right now.
That is probably the most used app on my phone. Is the Calm app for meditation,
And the way they
sleeping.
did their commercial and with the placement of what they
Yeah.
were doing it with, well done, Calm. Well done.
You talked about when you go to the United States. I used to love going to, or even when I would go to Mexico at times, because then I could watch ESPN.
Yes.
I went to visit my brother. He lived in Colorado Springs when he was posted there in the military one time, and I'm like, this is the greatest. Do you know how many bowl games I get to watch on ESPN? I'm like, this is so great. Now you can get ESPN on, like different.
There's ways.
Yeah, there's different programs
ways.
and stuff.
There's ways.
But it was always the coolest thing to be turn your TV on in your hotel room and watch ESPN Sports Center, right? Like it was such a different show than we had here in Canada.
I've got a few more minutes. Dean, I want to get to what's going on with you, with JPHL and all that. But first, I've just noticed, what are you wearing, Jasmine?
Me?
Yes, what are those shoes?
They're booties. They're
Are they
winter
slippers?
booties.
I
yeah.
have never. Are
And
they
they're-
slippers?
Yeah, they're waterproof.
Are they
Really?
And they're
sockless?
warm. There's North Face. Well, yeah, I wear them sockless sometimes. Yeah.
Wow.
So those
Yeah.
are what you wear outside and all of that.
Yeah, they're super comfortable.
You don't get
Really?
snow in the ankle like
no,
a booter?
you could. I mean, it's a design flaw, but like otherwise, it's perfect.
Very
And
comfortable.
they come in a few colors, but they're always like sold out. So
They are fascinating.
they're awesome.
They
I get
kinda
so many
look like
compliments on them.
slippers.
They are.
That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
did
They're
you bring slippers
they're like
today or
win-
something?
Yeah,
So
they're like winter
comfortable.
booties.
They have grip?
Yeah, they, have
They
a
look
little
like they
bit.
have
Oh, yeah.
pretty decent
Wow.
gripping.
Yeah.
too.
I might have to go
They're
get a pair of
unreal.
those then.
You should. They're so practical for our winters.
Let's start it. I'm going to see if they can
Christmas
give it to them in wild colors with the Minnesota Wild logo on it, and you're getting it for Christmas.
You know what someone just said to me? Gibbs says that the wild colors are better than my hair.
Whoa!
I know. What the hell?
I'm not going there.
Now I'm like so like what?
I think your hair looks awesome. That's great.
What's-
For the
Wow.
record, Ed Hervey's suit yesterday was fire. That
Yeah.
guy knows how to dress
Yes,
black on black.
that's one thing about
I
Ed.
noticed. I think he had a little lapel pin. Hell yeah, let's
I would
go.
be scared of Ed Hervey
Yo,
if I
you
didn't know
dress,
him.
yeah, because you dress like that, you know this. The guy knows a business.
And he grew up in Compton. He saw some
Yes.
crazy, scary things.
Stories
I would
he
be
has or
scared
something.
if I didn't know Ed and I was expecting that big smile that he's got. I would be scared.
I would never want to be on Ed's bad side. I
Trish
would not
one
want to
time
be on
said,
the
"Hey
opposite.
Eddie," and he said, "It's Ed." All right, we won't make that mistake again.
Did he say that? Did that
He
really
said, "It's
happen?
Ed."
Wild.
JPHL, you were at a busy weekend last weekend. You
Yeah,
were
we
saying.
had 44 games from Friday to Sunday. It's why I wasn't able to watch the Bombers lose in the Grey Cup, which is probably a good thing. But we had the JPHL here and out in Abbotsford. We had the Challenge Cup 2016 and 2017, like 8-year-old kids with a Jumbotron, a video board. They skate around and they watching themselves and they run into each other. It is
so
the
cute.
greatest thing. We were also at West Edmonton Mall and we had the Female Super League. So we were crazy busy. This weekend, I think it's only 25 games. So we're have a really light. But yeah, we do about close to over 700 games a year with all our leagues. And we have the Winter Championship coming up in December. So
Yeah, Belsey was saying big deal.
it's
a big one.
huge. It's really fun. We've got a Concordia Nate game this Saturday. And we just had the Grand Slam of curling. And every single curler said it was the nicest facility they have ever been in. So if you haven't been out, you got to come check it out. Summit Restaurant is a great place to have something to eat.
I know Silent Ice Arena, like it's been open for a year now.
Since
or
last
so.
September, yeah.
I don't think I've seen as much praise for it though than during that curling week. Like the amount of because it was a lot of people from around the country.
That's right.
From around the country came, and the amount of buzz I saw about that rink on Twitter was massive.
Yeah, it's great. And, the Spruce Grove Saints will be moving into their new arena sometime in 2025. So it's really cool to see that our owners have been involved in 2 world-class facilities. And yeah, the JPHL is growing strong. Liam Pugh is a guy who's 14 playing in the 18U division and will, I'm pretty sure, be the first overall pick in the the Western Hockey League draft. NHL someday, probably, for this kid. Big, strong edge of a player, right-handed shot. So come check him out in the Winter Championship. December 12th to 15th is when his age group is playing, and this kid and his brother Landon is on the team, so we get the Pew squared goals. 9 times it's happened this year.
Nice.
It's fun. It's really fun. I'm a rink rat. I've loved being at rinks, so it's nice to just have my office at the rink and go play shinny every once in a while.
You had something else to say?
Yeah, I got to just before we wrap up.
Yeah,
I'll be fast. Your boy Dalton Nett, rookie, 37 points. What's your thoughts on him?
It's
good for you?
Is it 15 teams screwed up?
Yeah.
Was he 16th or 17th
What a
overall?
draft,
16th
yeah.
overall, so 15 teams screwed up. Thank you.
37 points last night?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Quickly, was going to ask your review about Una because I'm going tomorrow.
Una's amazing. It lived up to it in Edmonton.
What is it?
Una's a pizza
it's a
place
place.
from Calgary. They just opened in Edmonton a couple weeks ago at South Edmonton Common. Like it's one of my favorite pizza joints.
That's on my way to work. I
I've
might have
gone
to stop
a few
by.
times.
You have?
I've
You gotta
loved it.
tell me what you got.
So I went there. I could tell you.
Yeah,
lots
we'll talk
about Una.
after.
I can
And
tell you
one last
lots about
thing.
Una.
One last thing. Rip City, my brother. Okay, so you beat your Portland Blazers.
Yeah, but you hate the Minnesota Wild colors, and now you don't know anything about fashion.
I don't know.
I
I'm
love
dye my
the
hair today.
taunting. I love that you were upset that I didn't gloat on him, and then you just give it right to me. That is the best. I love that.
Team, thanks for coming in.
Hey,
It's always
Al,
great having
always.
you.
I love
Jasmine, good seeing you, even though you hate the Minnesota Wild. You must hate my coffee cup. Coming up
Oilers.
next, it is the Lock Shop. Dusty on the Lock Shop today, and 2 guys today as well from home.
Hey, Dusty.
He tried sneaking away, but his wife caught him yesterday, so he'll be hopefully back on the morning show on
Thankfully.
Monday. But Dusty Huss coming up here to talk some Thursday Night Football. Eric will be at Century Casino, but that's coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We got 2 guys in the goalie. We got the EST afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show and GCL Diesel Ulstrom pre and post game show with Tommy and Hearn. And that's all coming up here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports Talk. On behalf of Deano, Jasmine, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Hangout. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll chat with you tomorrow.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today,